Presents Brett Young live at the Garden, Saturday, September 14th at the beautiful Memphis Botanic Garden. One night, Brett Young, all the hits, with opening act Riley Green. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, visit liveatthegarden.com. Doors open at 6:30, show starts at 8:30. Also presented by FedEx, True Green, Infinity of Memphis, Regions Bank, Radians, Pro Show, Mahaffey Tent, and PDR. Brett Young live at the Garden, Saturday, September 14th.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sportstime with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
It is a Football Friday. Hi, everybody. Nice to have you with us. Started off so beautiful this morning. Walked out to get my paper early in the morning, about 6:15, and it was literally cool, like a fall layer of cool. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It did feel like it was football time throughout the South. It's gotten a little bit warmer, but it's going to be a lot of fun. There's some great football that will be played high school-wise tonight. Then, of course, tomorrow, a big day around here. Memphis will play Southern, first time they've ever played a SWAC school. That'll be at 11 in the morning. And then later in the day in Oxford, it'll be Ole Miss and Arkansas, and a crucial game for both those teams. If either one really is serious about finding a way to bowl land, to postseason play, they got to win tomorrow, and I am certain that there must be a certain amount of pressure that is felt by both of those schools. And in Oxford, getting ready for that game and everything else,
yes, sir.
Our own Brett Norsworthy, is there a sense of anxiousness or just anticipation in Oxford today?
All those things, Dave. I mean, the first game of the year, good afternoon, the first game, home game of the year after a tough loss last week, and Arkansas with a win last week, but didn't look great. I think there's some anxiety naturally for both sides. The SEC opener, somebody will sit on top of the SEC West. It'll be short-lived, but somebody will sit on top of the SEC West for a little while in that game, and this game has been crazy through the years. And with that, I'm going to give away 2 tickets to the game tomorrow, and we got to give them away fast where people can get by and pick them up before we close this afternoon. Somebody tell me the answer to this question. Last 4 years, what has been the margin in the last 4 years? It has been narrow. In the last 4 years, what's the point margin for one side against the other in the Ole Miss-Arkansas game? It's been a total of 10 points. The difference, the margin of victory, but the total cumulative point total, what is it, and who has the advantage in the Arkansas-Ole Miss game the last 4 years? And, yeah, it's a big game tomorrow for sure. 360-8255
so
to win the tickets.
I'm a little confused. You know me. You're throwing out a bunch of stuff here. So you want the person who will win 2 tickets to the game in Oxford tomorrow night, you want them to tell you the last 4 years what the total points on from both teams has been for 4 years? Just the difference, and it is narrow. Okay. So some team has a narrow advantage by X amount of points over the 4 years. Okay. Yes. And then a little bit later in this program, we will give away 2 tickets for the Tigers' 35-yard line. We will give away those a little bit later.
I've got a question for that if you want it.
I will certainly wait for that. Absolutely.
360-8255 for that one. The name of the play-by-play announcer for Southern University, and no, it's not that guy that caught the most important touchdown in Tiger football history.
The play-by-play guy.
Same name as that guy. Who is he?
For Southern. For the Jaguars.
Southern University.
Okay,
yeah.
we might as well just do that right now as well.
It.
So
we'll give away a bunch right out of the
Mike
gate.
is holding on for the Ole Miss question. If you would like 2 35-yard line tickets for tomorrow's game with Southern, you're a Memphis fan, 360-8255. They by the way, it's in the game notes for Southern University if you're looking. Who is the play-by-play radio announcer for the Southern Jaguars that will be in the press box tomorrow?
And just take a stab at the most important touchdown catch in the history of the Tigers program. They share the same name.
I know that guy.
If you're not going to the game, don't just call to win to win. Call to win to use these tickets to pick them up and go to the game. Because last week we had some people that just wanted to win, and then they re-gifted. If you just want to prove your prowess that you know the answer, do it another day. Let somebody win that wants to go to the game.
Yeah. And also, of course, let Drew know which tickets you're after as we call. We've got Mike wants the Ole Miss tickets. Nate wants the Tigers tickets. And then somebody else, if we get to you, we'll find out what you would like. So let's start with Mike. Mike, it is your turn.
9 points. 9 points.
Not even close, Mike. Not even close.
I hate that.
I do too, Mike.
I hate that for you,
too.
but I love your passion. That is for sure.
It is very narrow. Very, very narrow.
Let's try to give the Tiger tickets away. And Nate, who is the play-by-play announcer for Southern University that will be calling the game for the Jaguars tomorrow?
All right. Stash, did you say he shares a name with a Tiger who had a very important
the most important touchdown catch.
Not only did he make the most important catch, but then he spent some time, if I'm right, in the broadcast booth as well.
You are correct. It is Chris Powers.
Chris Powers?
Yes.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah. It's not the same guy, but it's the same name.
Right.
Chris Powers, by the way,
last Friday.
just so people know, our friend Chris Powers, and I love the guy. He's back. He is, he works for FedEx. He'd been in Germany for a year, but he is back from Germany. So, Nate, you've got 2 tickets, 35-yard line. Good for you. I'm going to put you on hold. You got to get here quick, though, if you want to get those tickets for tomorrow's game. And Drew will get all of your info. Once again, Clay, I'm sorry. If you want to take a stab at the Ole Miss tickets, you can. We still are looking for somebody who would love to go to Oxford on us. We have 2 tickets for the Ole Miss football game. You've got to give me the difference in score the last 4 years.
And it's narrow.
Who's got more points and how many?
It is very narrow. It is very, very narrow. Hard to believe to play 4 times in those kind of games with, total deciding the points has been 10.
I must confess, I could kiss you, Stats Norsworthy, for coming up with this idea of giving away tickets so that I did not have to talk about the embarrassment that my beloved team put me through last night.
I was going to give you credit, though. It looks like they found a kicker at least.
Oh, God. They got a good punter, too.
Boy, they need to ice both legs of the punter. The deep snapper's back's got to be hurting. Which way you want to go on the Ole Miss tickets?
Let's go. We do it legit here. Stacy was the first one in, so we'll go with Stacy. Do you know the answer for 2 tickets to tomorrow's Ole Miss Arkansas game?
4 points.
Nope.
No. And you got to tell me who. 4 points and who, right? I mean, we should know that too.
Yeah, that'd help, but no, it's not 4.
All right, let's go to Barry. Barry, do you know the difference?
3.
Nope, not 3 either.
So we know it's not 3. We know it's not 4, and we know what was the first guy's guess was 11.
Got to go lower, Barry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I guess we'll let him reload. This was a trickier question. So last night, the Bears were awful. It is,
Dave, you know what your record is after singing "Bear Down Chicago."
Yes,
you're over.
It's zipping what? Well, that's not really accurate. It just depends. You mean singing "Go Bear Down Chicago Bears" on the air? I sing it all the time
to thousands of people yesterday. You're over, and it is this first sign of the last great act is over.
Can I tell you something? This is my not top story of the day.
Well, you can save it for that if you'd like.
Well, I just want you to know that the Bears have not won an opener since 2013. So if you think that I'm totally distraught, that I'm out of my mind with worry, that the season is entirely over, you're totally wrong.
And you shouldn't be, Dave, because a lot of people, they're not throwing away week 1. But I heard it said a bunch last night. People would rather be sharp and healthy for weeks 1 and 2 and 3 than doing and playing anybody in that preseason, taking any chance of getting anybody hurt. But Mitch Trubisky was epically bad. I mean, hide your eyes bad.
I know, and that really, really worries me. We'll get into that in Not Top Story. In the meantime, we've got guys. They've had time to Google. I'm sure one of these guys has the answer. Cobb, can you tell me?
Believe it or not, I didn't Google. I'm driving down Papa right now. I didn't have a chance to Google, but I'm pretty sure this point differential, if I understood the question correctly, for the last 4 years combined was 10, and Arkansas leads that point differential 6-4.
No. They've scored a lot more points than 6.
I've been doing the total points. I was doing the differential between the 10 points total.
No. Total points scored for one side versus the other.
Total points. Oh. So try to think that in your head. I'm going to give you a minute here.
And it's less than 3.
Because if you're not Googling and you're driving, I don't want you to get hurt. But add it up in your head. What's 4 years worth of Arkansas scores, 4 years worth of Ole Miss scores, and tell me the difference. Tell me the difference.
That's going to be tough. How long are you going to give me?
I'll tell you what.
Less than 3.
I'm going to give you. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to let Gary have a shot, and we'll come back to you if he doesn't get
fair.
it.
Oh, Gary could take it right from you, Cobb. This is pretty good.
This is all we can do. I don't know what else to do. I want to give the guy a chance, but
Gary,
Gary,
it's not 4.
It's your chance to steal. Gary, you there?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the answer?
Well, thank you for the information there. I'm going with Arkansas by 1.
Nope, it's not 1 either.
Oh man,
it's not 1, it's not 4, and it's not 3.
I think I got it now. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right, Cobb.
All right, Cobb. Your big vindication.
Easy
Cobb.
now, Cobb.
Believe it or not, I still don't think I understand the question because I said 10 as the total point differential between the two teams over
correct.
4 years.
And that is correct.
But that guy just answered 1, right?
And it's not 3, it's not 4, and it's not 1, but the total for one side over the other is a margin of?
Well, I said 6 a while ago.
But that's not right, Cobb.
No.
Oh, man. I could have sworn it's 6.
Just out of curiosity, are you the Ty Cobb that used to do the trampoline act?
Now you're pulling a George Lapidus on me. No, my name's Cobb Hammond. I am distantly related to Ty Cobb, like 8 once removed. But
what are the odds on that? We should give him the tickets just for that.
All right, Cobb. If it's not 1, and it's not 4, and it's not 3, and it's less than 3, what's left?
2.
There you
2,
go.
That's it.
He pulled it out, ladies and gentlemen.
158 to 156.
Well, okay. See, I was okay. I was okay. I got.
You were trying hard. You were trying hard,
Cobb. Trying hard, but do I get a cigar out of it?
Cobb,
no. You get 2 tickets.
You get 2 tickets. We're going to be very generous. We want you to
tried
go.
Very hard.
Anybody that is a descendant of Ty Cobb, we love you.
And you head down Poplar and get to Mount Moriah and get these tickets before about 4:00.
Well, I'm at my office off of Linfield. I tell you what, I can be there. You're at Mount Moriah. It's your same office same spot y'all were 10 years ago, right?
Same place, Mount Moriah and Ridgeway. Come on, right next to the car wash.
I'm about 6 minutes from there. Can you? What time y'all get off the air? 4?
No.
6 o'clock, man.
No, but we've got
that's right.
the tickets. I assume are with Margaret at the front desk. You're in.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kyle.
Can I get there?
Yeah, you can get here. Come on.
Yeah.
Very good. 158 to 156 the last 4 years. I mean, it has been nail-biter games and great games. I mean, look, I know if you're on the Ole Miss persuasion, maybe not a tougher loss in the history of tough losses than a Hunter Henry Heave, but that was 53-52. Then the next year in Fayetteville was 34-30, and then the Wild went here 2 years ago, 38-37. Last year in Little Rock was wild down to the end on a cold, drizzly, rainy night, 37-33, and 158-156 Razorbacks. This hour, our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. 362-8833, the phone number. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2019 models, 2020s rolling in, and always special lease options. If you ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look outstanding in one of those beautiful cars as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 flagship LS500 or the 2020s, and you will be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, that's an easy one today. Everybody's buzzing about this apology that Antonio Brown gave to his teammates, an emotional discussion in the locker room today. And after he said to his Raider brethren, I've been a jerk. I'm really sorry. And apparently it was choked up emotions. John Gruden decided, we're going to let you play Monday night. I guess no more fines other than the ones he's got to pay. No ramifications at all for the way he treated the general manager, Mike Mayock, on Wednesday. It was just, he apologized. Apparently the captains were with him, and John Gruden was on his side too, and he will play on Monday against the Denver Broncos. Amazing to me. I wonder how Mike Mayock feels. I wonder how long Mike Mayock is going to work for that organization. Maybe this will just fall right across his back and down, and there will be nothing with it.
I would imagine heat of the moment, things said, we know locker rooms, we know locker room talk, we know high energy people. I think sports is a forgiving place, and I hope he was sincere. I trust that he was. And, look, everybody has bad moments. I've had them. We've had them. I've been forgiven. That team needs him. They want to win, and he can help them win. It was not flattering whatsoever what he said and the manner that he said it in. But things have been said in an excitable fashion that you really don't mean, and they get said in the heat of the moment. I'd forgive. I hope somebody would forgive me. Well,
that would be the third forgiveness. And
it would be.
This guy,
you're chalking up a lot of forgiving.
This guy, I have very little faith that he will ever really truly be a team guy. And there is absolutely pressure on John Gruden to win. And last year was terrible, and this guy is one of the keys to him winning this year. So
that's last chance for him.
He is really going to give him the incredible benefit of the doubt. The thing that might sway me on this, to be, as you say, forgiving, would be that the captains also went to Gruden, and they went to bat for him too. So they want him to play, and those are the guys that they're going to war together with. So maybe I can do that, but I would tell you, if I were Mike Mayock, I would feel as if this team is really not about me at all, because no one should get away with the way he was treated by Antonio Brown. I don't think there's any question about that.
Mike should be, we forgive you, don't let it happen again.
Your top story?
My top story, it won't decide much in the SEC West if Arkansas wins. It won't deprive Ole Miss a trip to Atlanta like it did in 2015 when Arkansas won on the Hunter Henry play. If Ole Miss wins, then Arkansas is probably headed for 2 straight years of winless in the SEC and 0-16 for Chad Morris. But I don't know if they've ever played with bigger stakes. I know they've never played this early. They've never played in an opener. Ole Miss has never played on this date against an SEC opponent, and this is about as early as you can play a heated rivalry. And for the defeated team tomorrow, some real soul searching. For the winner, you feel good, going into next week. But for the defeated team, really, really starting all over again.
I think the defeated team, you can't, if you're in that locker room, feel like the year is over. But for those that are in the periphery, they will feel like changes may be needed, and it'll be different next year. That would be my guess.
Not top story of the day.
This is easy. The Chicago Bears and their offense. Here is a team that many in Soldier Field last night felt was a team that was capable of going to the Super Bowl, being the representative of the NFC. Their defense, again, magnificent. Their offense, out to lunch. Your rookie, David Montgomery, was about the best bright spot.
Thank you, Dave.
But Mitch Trubisky,
my Bears,
was, I've had doubts about him in the past. I started to become a believer at the end of last year. The doubts have come back in. But I do point this out. It's been 6 years since the Bears won an opening game. Last year, they blew that big lead to Green Bay. So I will say to you, I stand by the Bears. There's plenty of time to right the ship. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if they won the next 5 in a row, and we're 5-1. But
I'm glad I abandoned them yesterday.
I'm glad
I abandoned them.
Yeah, I figured you did.
My Jags.
Last night was totally disappointing.
And I'm telling both you and Drew now, I will not be there for you in football. I'll only be there for you in baseball. Too bad.
I won't need you. That means when your Jags,
good,
who you've inflated,
my Jags,
you've inflated your Jags so much.
In baseball, neither one of y'all have been there for me all year. You've done nothing but make fun of me.
What could we possibly do?
But Drew, you're so wrong.
What could we possibly do with that Oriole team?
When you fight among yourself, we always.
How could we prop you up?
Drew, I'm disappointed in that.
I haven't felt any big shoulders. I'm sorry.
They've been there for you. You just haven't made the choice to ride on them.
I don't know about that, Brad. I must confess.
My not top story is Serena Williams back where she was a year ago. She lost last year, and she looked bad in doing it too. But she asked for forgiveness, and the tennis world and the sporting world gave it to her. And if she wins tomorrow, I think this debate will seriously open next week. She's the greatest female athlete.
Oh, it's already there.
Ever. It's of anybody's lifetime.
You know what? Now you go back and you're talking about FloJo and, track athletes. And, heck, Lisa Leslie was so tremendous in the WNBA.
Championships, though.
Well,
but I think Serena could bust into the argument for best athlete regardless of gender ever.
All female? Oh, of all time.
Regardless.
Well, she's certainly the most dominant female to ever play her sport, and she's won more majors except for Margaret Court. She's got more slams than anybody in the modern era, and if she wins on Saturday, tomorrow, she will have number 24, tying the all-time record, going way, way, way back to when amateurs were really involved in the game. She was impressive yesterday when she knocked off the number 5 seed Elena Svitolina. And when she did that, now she's the lady's been incredible at getting to finals, right? She keeps getting to finals. She's playing. Have you watched any of Bianca Andreescu? This young lady who's originally from, I think it's Belarus. It's somewhere in Russian territory, but she moved to Canada as a kid, So she's got fans from Canada. She's got fans from Russia. She's playing in her first major, and she's made a final. Venus Williams, I believe, is the last one to have done that. First U.S. Open and makes the final. I can't imagine she can overcome everything, including the nerves that she'll have to take Serena Williams down. But it'll be interesting because she keeps coming back. She was down 2-5 in her match yesterday, Andreescu was. So it's going to be a heck of a showdown. I have to believe Serena's going to get Grand Slam number 24. And she's already the number one female tennis player in history. But you may be right. Maybe she transcends that to anything. It's interesting food for thought. And those are your top and not top stories of the day. We are busy. Bruce Marshall's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. J.D. Badura will join us at 3:50. We'll get the high school players of the week. He'll let us know who is coming to the Touchdown Club on Monday. Peter Edmiston on the Grizzlies. Glenn Rogers Jr. What a night of high school football and the big game, I think. One of the great rivalries of this city, MUS and Christian Brothers High School, will be on Sports 56 tonight. And Glenn Rogers, who, of course, is one of the coaches at MUS, as always, he joins us to talk some high school football. Rick Haro on the business of sport. I'm sure we'll talk some U.S. Open. That'll be at 5 o'clock, 5:30. Our Friday football focus, which is brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, where we make our picks for the weekend, and then crunch time will come your way. So we are busy here in the Family Leisure Studios. A reminder, head on over to I-40 and Wooden Road this weekend because there is something new. It's the big discount on all spas. Perfect time to buy. Over 50 in stock and ready to ship. $8,000 spas. Listen to this price. Under $4,500. We're talking almost half price here. 4-person spa starting at $24.99. Swim spas begin at under $9,000. Lowest prices all year long on the spas. And special financing available at Family Leisure. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Now's the time to find your color, your paint, and everything to get started during Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. Get the right paint for the right price. Save $10 on 1 gallon and $40 off free and 5-gallon buckets of paints and stains. Like Behr Premium Plus Interior, rated #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Now starting at $14.98 after rebate for a limited time only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid through September 8th via online or mail-in rebate limit 25 gallons per household. U.S. only. See store for details.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Back in, as we say, we are in the Family Leisure Studios. Big football games all over the place this weekend, even a couple tonight. In fact, I might have a shocker or lock that's playing this evening, and we always get the best info, the best advice from the Golden Man from Las Vegas. Of course, that's Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet, who joins us now. How are you on this Friday afternoon?
Well, I'm okay. I'm actually in California today, but keeping close tabs on this stuff. We had it was a busy week in Las Vegas. This is the most bet week in the NFL, as you could. So here we go.
I guess.
Do you love anything in the NFL on Sunday?
Did you love the Bears last night?
No, I didn't. We had Green Bay a little bit.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah, but no, we didn't make a feature pick on it. It's early for a lot of these teams. I'll tell you, I maybe I'm just riding the wave with everybody else here, but I don't see where Miami is going to do anything in this game against Baltimore. I don't want to get carried away by Baltimore in the preseason. They always win all their games in preseason, but last year, opening week, they were very sharp after a great August, and they ripped the Bills 47-3. I think Miami, this looks like a Mark Cuban-like tank job to me, and I know they've tried to do a few things right after the draft, to trade for Rose, and he's not even starting, though, and these moves they've made since the cut down and trading Tunsil away, what is Ryan Fitzpatrick thinking when his best supporter up front, his all-pro left tackle, is gone? They're a mess, and another Belichick disciple hired as a head coach, and these guys have failed constantly, so I'm not up on Flores. And I think Baltimore will go in there and handle the Dolphins by more than a touchdown, so that's probably my favorite game on Sunday.
Philly over Washington, that is a game I've looked at, and I know the margin is big, but I believe in Philly. They got to give away 10, but I think if we're talking NFL, that seems to be a pretty strong play.
Maybe. I know a lot of people like Philadelphia here, and I haven't heard anybody like Washington. It scares me a little bit. I actually think Jay Gruden did a really good job last year, and until Alex Smith went down, the Redskins were right in the playoff race last year. I mean, they were right there with the Eagles and everybody else. And then all the quarterbacks. I mean, it went through 4 quarterbacks in 4 weeks. I don't think Case Keenum's that bad. He's serviceable, and I think they might be better than people give them credit for. Darius Geis is healthy now. He's going to be the feature back. So I'm a little leery on this. And we actually lean to the Redskins plus the points. I don't think they're going to. That's the biggest number on the opening week card. You might be right. Maybe Philly's just going to boat race them, but I'm saying the Redskins aren't going to be that bad.
Redskins lean over Philly. Another NFC East game, then we'll get into some college, unless you got a few more pro, Dave. How about the big one in the NFC East on Sunday? Ezekiel Elliott's back, and Eli Manning's back. Giants, Cowboys.
Yeah, Brett. I mean, I'm thinking the Giants are a team that might be kind of flying under the radar a bit here. Here's a stat, very interesting. Last year, they had 8 games they lost by 7 points or fewer. Now, that might be a function of a team that just finds ways to lose. But it also shows they're competitive most weeks. And if you give them 7 or now the 7.5 we're seeing a lot of books, I mean, they would have only lost 2 games last year versus the spread if you bet on the Giants plus 7 or 7.5 points. So they're pretty competitive. I think Eli's had a spark lit under him by Daniel Jones. He can be serviceable this year. They're pivoting the offense around Saquon Barkley anyway. They got a little shortage of receivers now, but actually I think getting rid of OBJ might be okay for them. He was such a distraction with all the dramatics and the theatrics. And listen, Dallas here, it's been a bumpy summer, and I'm not sure how much Zeke is going to work on Sunday. Amari Cooper's foot injury is a bigger concern, I would think, because if he's down 100%, I mean, it was his arrival last year that really sparked that offense. They weren't going to make the playoffs, I think, until Jerry made that trade. But if Cooper's not 100%, it's a negative. And I think the Giants plus the points are a very good bet on Sunday.
Turning to college, give us what you think is a lock for this week.
Well, you're going to laugh when I say this one. Maybe not. Florida International, only 7.5 at home against Western Kentucky. I hate to say this because I like Clay Helton too, but I'm sort of anti-Helton right now. And it's his brother Tyson did not start off impressively last week against Central Arkansas. The Bears went into Bowling Green and won that game. They threw for over 400 yards. I'm not sure. Tyson's a little different than his brother. He's a little bit more boisterous. And Western Kentucky's really sagged. Florida International ran into a buzzsaw last week, I think, with Tulane. Morgan, the quarterback, is still there. They got a lot of pieces from last year, and they were pretty good last year. I think he'll throw on these guys. And Butch Davis has still got a very good point spread mark. I think he has the edge over Tyson Elton. So Florida International there. And one more, keep an eye on Texas San Antonio. Don't think the Roadrunners are that bad. The quarterback who was hurt last year, Frank Harris, is really a playmaker, and they didn't have a quarterback last year. And this is a lot of points for Baylor to be laying in Waco. The Texas corridor on I-35 there, not much interest outside of that for this game, but I'm going to take UTSA plus the big 26 at Baylor tomorrow.
Plus 26 at Baylor. Bruce Marshall with the goal sheet taking Florida International laying the points against Western Kentucky and Texas San Antonio plus 26.5. Explain Tennessee and explain how Tennessee's favored over BYU.
It's only because there's I don't know. I mean, BYU didn't look that great and made some mistakes against Utah. I think Utah's a really good team, though, so it's just a bias maybe because Tennessee's at home, the SEC thing. I don't know. I'll tell you, they're going to burn down Neyland Stadium if they lose us, and they might. I think Zach Wilson is a much better quarterback than he showed last week against Utah. He had a couple of pick sixes, and Utah is just – that's an NFL defensive front Utah's got, and it's a very rough matchup. I don't know about Tennessee here. I mean, I've never been a big Jeremy Pruitt fan. I know a lot of people up there now are down on him even more. You watched that game against Georgia State, and I mean, it didn't look like a fluke. I mean, Georgia State was moving pretty consistently the whole game up front. They were handling Tennessee, and this was not expected to be a good Sun Belt team. I mean, that team was 2-10 last year, and they're maybe the worst team in the Sun Belt, and they're coming up there and winning. I mean, if you told me, App State or Troy goes into Knoxville and wins, maybe. I didn't expect that last week, and I wonder if that's a red flag or not. I'm not convinced of Tennessee's recuperative powers. So, yes, I'd still take BYU in this game for sure.
Staying around here, and Brett's in Oxford. Ole Miss and Arkansas, we are both in agreement. The loser's in big trouble, probably out of postseason play. The winner is very much still in and would actually lead the SEC West for the moment. How does the Gold Sheet see that?
Yes, and I'm still trying to sift through and decipher the Ole Miss game last week and the Rich Rod's offense. And maybe Memphis' defense is better, like you alerted me, Dave. But to not score in the first half is an alarm. But I think the fact Mike McIntyre's defense looks so much better than Ole Miss's defense last year. That's something to be encouraged about. I don't know what they're encouraged about at Arkansas. And I keep hearing Chad Morris and all the recruiting and all this and that, but darn it, you watch this team play, they just don't look any good. They were in a scrap with Portland State last week, a mid-level Big Sky team, and Ben Hicks just not didn't ignite that offense like I thought he might. And Morris, let's see Arkansas look good. I mean, I don't care about it's down the road stuff. That's a crutch coaches used a lot. There is no excuse for a team not looking sharp ever. You don't have to have, you can still execute and play well and the offensive design and all that. I haven't seen it yet from Arkansas since Morris got there. 27-16, we took the Rebs, and Matt Luke gets a big win, and I need more convincing on Morris than I do on Ole Miss.
You mentioned Tulane. What about Tulane going on the Plains? Old SEC rivals. Tulane actually leads this all-time series. They hadn't played but once in a long time, but the Greenies going down to the loveliest village on the Plains to play Auburn.
Yeah, and Brian Boyle, more than 50 years since Tulane was in the SEC, but I I think you make a case here. Willie Fritz, we know he knows what he's doing. Now, he's modernized his offense this year from McMillan, the quarterback transfer from LSU. He came in there last year, looked pretty good. But they were running a lot of read option and things like that. They have gone more of a spread, and a passing element now has sort of been added to Tulane. And Fritz is a good coach. He's won wherever he's been. The key here, though, is Gus, and you talk about it would be very understandable for Auburn to have a letdown after that thrilling win last week. But Gus has really undershot as a home favorite here at Jordan-Hare for the last 5+ years. He's 6-19 his last 25 laying points at home. So they undershoot a lot, and you're getting a pretty hefty number with the team I think is much improved. And if track record holds up here, at least on the Auburn side, they'll win but not cover. And I think over 2 touchdowns with Tulane, a much improved Tulane, I think. I don't want to overreact to 1 week, but that was impressive a week ago. And there's reasons to think Tulane is going to be a factor this year in the American. 35-22 Auburn, that's our score forecast. That's a clear vote, though, for the Greenies, plus all those points tomorrow at Jordan-Hare.
LSU and Texas in one of the more premier games of the week. They got to go to Austin. Here's Joe Burrow against a Texas team that has lost just about every running back. I really believed until I heard all the news, 5 running backs are down, that they would beat LSU. But I don't know now. Tell me.
I think that is probably why the number has moved up here. But it could be a little bit overreaction to LSU, how good it looked last week. Mind you, Texas has a quarterback who can run pretty good too, and Tom Herman is very resourceful. I don't know that LSU last week, and this new offense, they brought Joe Brady in from the Saints to freshen up the offense and to add the RPO and some other things to the offense and modernize the passing game, expand the offense. That was the word all offseason at Baton Rouge. And you saw it last week. But I was a little surprised. I mean, they pulled out everything against Georgia Southern. They were running the full offense last week. The full playbook was on display. Now, maybe they wanted to do that. I don't know the wisdom of that, though, in front of such a big game. Georgia Southern looked like it didn't know what was coming last week. Texas has at least seen this year. And Todd Orlando's a pretty solid defensive coach, and Herman is solid, too. Here's another thing to note. Herman is now a 6.5-point dog here. We know his underdog record, 13-2 at Houston and Texas. How about this? 10 of those 13 times, he has won outright as an underdog. I have never seen that in the 40-so years I've been doing this, where a coach is not only covering as an underdog, but winning outright, and he's winning as a big dog a lot, too. This goes back to his years at Houston and certainly at Texas, a couple of those last year, the Oklahoma and the Georgia wins last year. And he could have beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game, too. This is a vote on Tom Herman. And I think I'm going to take – and I love Ellinger. By the way, Ellinger looked very sharp last week, too, in his first game of the season. 31-28. I'm going to take Tom Herman over – and we're taking Tom Herman over LSU. I will take Herman over Orgeron, and that's why we're taking this pick on Texas.
Mm-hmm. So you love Texas.
I think you won it outright. I'm going to stick with that Tom Herman trend here. We'll see what goes.
I don't think too many folks would argue with that at all. And then maybe the last game that we have time for, and that is Clemson and Texas A&M at Clemson. Close game last year. No one thinks it's going to be close this year. Clemson by 17 last I looked.
Yeah, pretty big number. It's actually come down a little bit. There's some little traffic on A&M at the sportsbook windows. There may be a sidebar contest here, speed talking between Jimbo and Dabo before the game. I think Jimbo's the favorite. He might win that one. Dabo's the only guy who could keep close to him in words per minute, but it's points per minute and points per 60, which we're going to be judging this on. A&M thinks they're very confident. They think they're going to go in there and win. They think they should have won that game last year, certainly forced overtime. Big difference, though. That was before Trevor Lawrence took over at quarterback. Lawrence had a so-so opener, but that was sort of a ho-hum game against Georgia Tech. Etienne turned into the star in that game last week, over 200 yards rushing. Won't happen like that as easy against A&M, which was 3 nationally in rush defense last year. Jimbo's defense can play. Jimbo's covering numbers, too. He's got a quarterback who's very confident in Kellen Mond, threw for big yardage against Clemson last year. And I know they reload on Clemson's defense, but, you're still replacing several guys moved on to the NFL. So even as good as Brett Venables is and all the talent, there might be a little drop-off. 35-27 A&M. I'm sorry, 35-27 Clemson. We think Clemson wins. This is going to be their toughest test of the regular season. But all those points, we're going to take with A&M. That's actually a gold sheet key release on A&M plus the points.
Hey, one last thing. I got to get this in. Cincinnati looks so good against UCLA. They have to go to the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio, to take on Ohio State. There's a lot of points in that game, too. 15 now, last I looked. What does the gold sheet think about that one?
Cincinnati, robust defense, quarterback Ritter, running back Warren, both there last year, productive, looked good against UCLA. Luke Fickell is an Ohio State guy. He played there, coach there. He's also the interim coach that year. Tressler got fired, met his wife there. I mean, this is a big deal for Cincinnati, and they're pretty tough. I don't know what to make of Ohio State. They look like they took their foot off the pedal against Lane Kiffin last week. They better not do that against Cincinnati, or this could be a competitive game. Cincinnati's better than a lot of Big Ten teams, I think. And so 30-20 Ohio State, but we'll take Cincy plus all those points.
Like that. Maybe they pull the upset, be a big win for the American. As always, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. How do we get more of Bruce Marshall?
Thank you, Dave. Check us out online, goldsheet.com. New issue up there right now, and it's all those NFL games plus these college games we talked about. Online, goldsheet.com. My picks there. Also, Vegas Insider, DonBest.com.
He is Bruce Marshall. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy the
Good
weekend.
luck, Bruce. Thank you.
Okay, have a good weekend, guys.
You too.
You too.
Portion of the show brought to you by Trinity Professional Services. Time to get clean for the fall. Everybody likes to do that every couple of seasons, and that's how long a good cleaning from the folks at Trinity will last. Couple of seasons, I like to say. Not only do you see the cleanliness, you feel it. No, I mean that, and you know what I'm talking about. And these are the ones that'll do it for you. They started in construction, started with 3 guys, and now they've got 36 or something of that last time I looked. They do windows so beautifully. They have their own tools, their own chemicals. They do carpets. They look brand new when they're done. Rugs, baseboards, ceiling fans, you name it. Places you haven't thought about, they clean. They do an amazing job. Go to TrinityProfessionalServices.com, get all the numbers, then call Todd Pope. He'll come out, he'll take a look. He'll give you a number. You're going to like it, and then you'll be clean. Time to clean up for the fall. There's only one place to do it, Trinity Professional Services.
Come on, Dave. Give me a better clean it up than that.
Clean it up.
There you go.
We take the break. We'll get the clean version of who's coming to the Touchdown Club and who the high school players of the week are. John David Bedour is next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops this year with the new 2019 Fall Arrivals. Introducing the strikingly new T-Series irons from Titleist, featuring the T100 iron designed as a player's iron, the T200 iron, a player's distance iron, and the T300 iron, the complete game improvement iron. All pure Titleist. Let us help you find the right set and get custom fit today. Just a few of the new releases you'll find at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home with a 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1960.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Benswinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswinger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Benswinger Glass.
Hewlett & Dunn, nestled on Old Town Square in Collierville, has 4,000 square feet of the largest boot selection in 200 miles. International boot legends Luke Casey, Double H, Red Wing, Ariat, Justin, and Tony Lama. Hewlett & Dunn has rubber hunting boots by Dry Shod, and recently has expanded the selection of safety work boots. Filson Hunting Gear, biggest selection in 3 states, and now carrying Duckhead. Western wear, hunting attire, jeans, belts, hats, and more at 111 North Center Street, Collierville on Old Town Square. You need to stop by Hewlett & Dunn, you bet your boots.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
John David Vidura will join us in just 1 second.
Yes, he will. And we'll talk the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Players of the Week and also the Memphis Touchdown Club after I tell you about Williams Equipment Supply, homegrown, locally owned, #1 in compact construction equipment. They've represented the Bobcat Company for 50 years. The Bobcat Company is the industry leader in compact loaders and excavators. Support American manufacturing. Buy, lease, or rent Bobcat equipment. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 great locations. Williams Equipment Supply, they have the largest inventory of equipment, attachments, and parts, the largest compact rental fleet, the best technicians, and the most locations. Whether you do plumbing, utilities, swimming pools, concrete breaking, or foundations, let Williams Equipment Supply help you out with the right Bobcat excavator just for you. Williams Equipment Supply, they stock the widest range of Bobcat attachments. For a demonstration or more details, call Cody Bumpus, your North Mississippi Bobcat specialist, at 901-508-8739. And for a demonstration or more details, call Sam Watson, your Memphis area Bobcat specialist, at 901-326-6429. Williams Equipment Supply, homegrown, locally owned, and #1 in compact construction equipment.
We had a texter at the First Bank text line, says something only you and I know. In week 1 in the NFL, division dogs are on an 18-4 cover run. And yes, Dave, that includes Green Bay's cover over the Bears. No, if that's true, that's amazing. So in your division, it's a divisional game, first week of the NFL, and you're the dog. The last 18 times they played, or 22 times they played, 18 times the dog won. That's incredible. Thank you for that text. Maybe I'll be thinking about that in our Friday football focus a little bit later when we're making our locks and our shocks. In the meantime, our friend John David Bedour from the Touchdown Club joins us now, and you guys are back in action on Monday, but you also have high school football players of the week. Have we missed any?
Well, here's where we are. We're going to be on Monday week. It's not this coming Monday, but Monday week, and I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity. Mike Norville is going to be our speaker. But instead of him being at the Hilton, he invited us to come out to the Billy Murphy complex, the football complex down off Getwell. And we're going to have a meeting in the new room where all the players eat. And we'll be looking out on the construction on Field 1 there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be on 9/16. That'll be Monday week. Come between 5:45 to 6. We'll have a nice dinner, and he'll speak around 7.
That'll be a lot of fun. You guys will get to see the new offices, and you'll get to see what is being done, because they have started ripping up that field to put the new inside facility. So September the 16th, Mike Norvell speaks on campus, on the South Campus, which is the Billy Murphy complex, and that'll be really, really a cool thing.
It is, and I think, so many people don't really understand what all's been done out there with a 100-yard weight room, the fantastic locker rooms, and really a lot of renovation to a lot of different venues, other sports venues, baseball field redone, softball field, and the basketball complex. It's really quite impressive out there, as you know.
Mm-hmm. It'll be good to open it up for everybody to see. I think the guys of the Touchdown Club and the girls will really be impressed. So that'll be cool. That's on the 16th. Have you got high school football players of the week so far this year?
We just do it when we have the meetings.
Okay.
And that was the first meeting that we had.
All right.
Back with Tony Barnhart. But, we're going to have a good year. I think, football is very exciting. For some, it's great. For others, like Tennessee and Ole Miss, not so good.
That's right, John David. You had a big crowd for Tony Barnhart. I heard he was always, as he is always, he was at his very best. You got Coach Norvell coming up. You got Matt Luke later in September, a lot of the area coaches. You still have Blake Anderson. Will he still try to appear from Arkansas State?
Blake Anderson, Chad Morris,
Joe Moorhead at Mississippi State, Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee, Barton Simmons from 24/7. We're going to have an Alabama night and then Liberty Bowl night. And it's a great time. Our website is tdcmemphis.com. We're having a little problem on the events page, but it'll show you the next speaker on there, which is Mike Norvell. And, what a great time to be a Tiger fan, you know?
Doubt. No,
good
no
as
doubt.
ever.
I'm sure you'll have a good crowd for that one. And so that will be a week from Monday when Mike will be on the scene. Thank you. We appreciate it, JD. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, John Dave. Good luck to Tennessee this weekend.
Yeah.
Now they need it. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Very succinctly put, and I think that's the way most of the Tennessee fans
a little good luck goes a long way, Dave.
It does. Since he was talking about the campus and everything else, I don't know if you'd heard this, but Penny Hardaway talked to the rebounders last night, the booster group that had their preseason banquet. And, the thing about Penny is he's a very good communicator, and he just basically came right out and said, we want the national championship, and we really feel like we can get it.
Now, why not? Why
there is
the obvious?
No coach speak in that.
I don't think there should be. It's refreshing, and he's got a team that if it goes well, it can be there, and if it doesn't, he aimed high, and you gear up another time. I don't blame him at all. Instead of all this coy, we just want to get in the tournament. We all know better than that. Don't BS the public. They know better, and he doesn't. I like the straight shooter that he is. He's always been that.
That is an hour in the books. When we come back, Peter Edmiston from the Experience in the Morning with he and CJ. They had a good time this morning, and we'll be chatting with Peter about the Grizzlies and a whole bunch of other stuff. He's got the game with Germantown tonight that will be on 87.7 FM and 96.1. All that coming up in just a second. I'll let you know this portion of the show brought to you by the Spirit Shop. You know that little place. It's a log cabin, or it looks like it from the outside. It's really not little either. It's big inside, and from ceiling all the way down to the floor, packed. I mean, it is an exercise of engineering what Eddie Connor and his family have done to get as many spirits in that place. It's amazing, and they've got it all. They got everything you need, from the most premium of bourbons or tequilas or vodkas and gins to the bargain. Same thing with wine. You can get anything from Caymus and Opus all the way down to what is coming out of California that might be expensive next year, but is a really good buy now. All the beers, all the accessories right there at Poplar and St. Nick, just down from Clark Tower. You've passed it by a million times. We're going to be there Wednesday before the Navy game. We've been there a couple of times already. Always a treat to load up and stock up from the good folks at the Spirit Shop. Back in a minute. 1 hour in the books on this Friday on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. It's an exciting time to be a Memphis Tiger fan, and we at Five Ash Roofing have decided to share our excitement. We are proud members of the Tigers home team, which means we sponsor the Tigers athletic department, and we're also season ticket holders to both the football and basketball programs. We will be giving away 2 and sometimes 4 tickets to most of the games this coming year. To have a chance at winning the tickets, find our Facebook page, like, and share our post. The more you share, the more chances you have to win. We also want to give away some tickets to those who wouldn't otherwise get a chance to go. So, you can go to memphisroofer.com or 5ash.com and send us a note why you or someone you know should get the tickets. And as always, 5Ash Roofing is fair, honest, and ethical. We're experts in all forms of roofing for both residential and commercial buildings. 5Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you. Family Leisure has the world's biggest spa sale going on now. Over 50 spas in stock and ready to sell. $8,000 spas now just $44.99. 4-person spas starting at $24.99. Swim spas from $89.99. Huge discounts on all spas. Get the lowest prices of the year with special financing available. It's the world's biggest spa sale happening now at Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
125 seasons of Ole Miss football.
Caught
by Deuce, he may go.
Dexter breaks a tackle.
Mike Wallace between two defenders. The tradition continues. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Breaks a tackle. He's gone down the sideline. Touchdown, Ole Miss. He is a beast. Saturday, Ole Miss battles Arkansas. Pre-game coverage starts at 4:30 with kickoff at 6:30. Right here on your home for the Rebels.
Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. I'm in the Family Leisures inside the Flynn Broadcasting Center. Our friend Brett Norsworthy in Oxford as he gets set for the Ole Miss game. Peter Edmiston joins us now. You know Peter from the Morning Experience, and also he will be on the call tonight for the Germantown DeSoto Central game. So before we get into the Grizzlies, and there is some news there with Matt Mooney being signed to a new deal and a bunch of Grizzlies players playing in the World Cup. You've got the Red Devils tonight against DeSoto Central. Give us a preview of that game, Peter.
Well, good afternoon. Yeah, it should be interesting when we've seen a lot of. It's an adjustment period for Germantown, and it was a little bit of a stunner last week against Cordova when the Red Devils and new coach Tommy Farrell lost at home for the first time in over 2 years. 22-game home winning streak went by the wayside last week, losing to Cordova. So a new streak will be attempted to be started by the Red Devils against a pretty good, very talented, but perhaps a little bit on the young side, DeSoto Central. But really this one is about how Germantown responds to a stunning loss last week. So we'll find out together. We'll have the kickoff right at about 7 o'clock. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So there was some Grizzlies news this week. Matt Mooney, who is a guy that played for Texas Tech and had a great run with Texas Tech as a shooter, signed a deal. And explain the terms of what this sort of deal is that he signed.
Well, it's an Exhibit 10 contract, which really is not in no particular reason to get too fired up about it, other than it's a contract that essentially means he'll be here for training camp, and then he'll most likely end up with the hustle. It's a way to pay more than a standard minimum salary and to try to retain the rights of that player a little bit longer for your own personal G League team. But it's unlikely, not impossible, but extremely unlikely that he ends up, making the team after training camp. So this is more for a future thing. We like the way this guy looks. We want to take a little closer look at him. We'll throw him a little extra money to make sure he comes to our group, and then we can keep an eye on him after that. If we cut him, we can hang on to him from a G League standpoint. So that's typically how these Exhibit 10s work.
And you still have too many guys, right? With Iguodala on there, there's still cuts that have to be made.
Yeah, yeah. So you've still got 3 cuts really that would have to be made at this point. So it's unlikely that he makes the team. But they like him, they're intrigued by him, and it's a free look. And again, you just never quite know. So
nothing venture, nothing gain. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you can do it, and you can have in the off season you can have up to 20 guys on your roster, including your two-way guys. As the season starts, that number comes down quite a bit. So you have the freedom to take a few swings here and there.
Peter, a benchmark that you call for, frankly, for years, just some direction, some plan. They clearly have that now. We know what next year holds on the court and with the record, and I'm not so sure that they don't mind being back in the lottery with the class coming next year to add yet another piece, and maybe with the accumulation of other picks. But it is at least no longer directionless, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. I mean it's a clear and obvious direction now when it comes to what they're going to try to do, and then that's exactly what they should be doing. It's a group that they've gone young. That's what they needed to do for a while. The current group that had been there for a long time did great work, but it was pretty much over. We'd seen exactly what that group put together, what they could do, what they were able to do, what they were not able to do, and so why not take another shot at it with a different group? And that's exactly what they're going to try to do. And so they've gone young, and it's also a group that should be, fingers crossed, and assuming everything goes the way that it's supposed to, a very exciting group to watch. That's going to be the thing. You've got a bunch of new players that you think all of them seem to be extremely athletic, very, very gifted. A lot of them can jump out of the gym. You got some new throwback uniforms you're gonna roll out there with. So should be a lot of fun. I don't know how many wins you're gonna see. It should be a lot of fun to watch them.
Yeah, Peter, how big a piece for the future, for the end of the 2021-22 season and beyond, is Jonas Valanciunas?
I think basically the contract kind of indicates what he's going to be all about. He's got a contract that decreases in value. It's a 3-year, $45 million contract, but it starts at its highest point and then decreases. So I think it's 16, 15, 14 as you improve, and perhaps some younger players step up, and Jaren Jackson, maybe becomes an even bigger part of what you're doing. Then maybe Valanciunas diminishes a little bit, and maybe you move him, or maybe he's just not quite as big of a deal. And then in that final season, at that point, it's a very tradable contract because the value will be $14 million, and with the expiring contract, that's absolutely a very movable deal right there. And he'd be 29 at that point. So yeah, I think you have plenty of opportunities. He's been playing extremely well. And he's one of the standouts thus far in the World Cup. Lithuania's looked good, and he's looked really good. So he's just 27, which is crazy. Seems like he's a little bit older, but no, he's still relatively young, just not quite as young as the rest of the guys.
Well, he's not the only guy. You have Watanabe, who played against the United States team, and they got roughed up a little bit. The Japanese did.
Oh, they did.
Bruno Caboclo actually made a big play for Brazil in their win by knocking a ball off the rim on a free throw, which is totally legal.
Mm-hmm. And he's played well.
And then Guduric, who is the shooter they signed, which we don't know a whole lot about him. He's also played well for his national team. Let's start with him.
Yeah, Guduric is first of all, Serbia just in general has been phenomenal. That's probably the best team, just full stop, thus far at the tournament. They've been phenomenal, excellent, amazing. You throw out just about any superlative, and it would apply to Serbia. Heck, they've got. Nikola Jokic is not even really starting. Boban is starting ahead of Jokic. They're bringing him off the bench just because they can. And I think they know he's better, but it doesn't matter. It's working really well. And so, Guduric is playing his role in that talented group, and he's doing exactly what you would expect. playing a shooting role off the bench. He's averaging in the 40s in terms of percentage. Hitting 3 or 4 threes a game. That's perfect. It's exactly what you would expect him to be able to do with the Grizzlies. So he's been good. And again, just 23. So some upside there potentially. We'll see. The less said about Japan, the better, probably. That was.
It speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was quite ugly. Hachimura and Yuta. Yuta Watanabe is the second best player in the Japanese team comfortably, and he is the 15th or 16th best player on the Grizzlies. So
right
again, that kind of tells you what you're dealing with
and
when it comes to Japan.
He's still the two-way guy, right? He did not get a main contract. He's a two-way.
Right? Yeah, he's still a two-way guy, and we'll see. He's looked better, but obviously a long way to go. Bruno did look good, and Bruno's Brazil pulled a big upset of Greece, and he was part of that. Greece, by the way, playing the United States tomorrow morning, early on in the first game of the second group stage. So Giannis against the United States.
Now clarify this. The second group, the second round here is knockout round, is it not?
No, it's a group, and then they go into a knockout. Then they go into a knockout. So it's basically 2 groups. They have a 32 group, so 8 groups of 4. Then the top 2 in each of those groups go into another smaller group stage, and then you go into your knockout after that.
So Greece and the United States,
a lot of basketball,
are in the same group.
It is a ton of basketball. Yes. So that's why Greece will end up playing the United States. So yeah, it's potentially a lot of basketball. I think it was on the order of 9 games potentially that you play if you get to the finals.
Wow,
I just don't know if that's the
and then you
object
open up
they're doing it.
Training camp right after that.
That's why. Yeah, I mean, again, this
after
is why
25-hour flight home.
Because it's you have the 3 games for that group, that first group. For that, then the next group you have 3 more games. Then the top 2 teams in each of those groups. Then you go into that final 8, where you get into the quarterfinals, semifinal, and final of the knockout stage. So that's an extra 3 more games theoretically there. So yeah, it's 9 games in total. It's a grueling thing, and you come back and you got about a week, and then boom, you're right into training camp. So it's not for everybody.
Peter, and training camp starts when?
It's basically the last week of September was when the final report. So I think that ends up being like 30th or 29th or 30th, somewhere in that neighborhood. So. It's right there. The report date is before October rolls around.
And then,
have you ever seen Peter? Have you ever seen Miles Plumlee and Tyler Zeller together?
I try not to, Brett.
Aren't the Plumlees and the Zellers kind of the same thing? One went to North Carolina and the other went to Duke.
They're very, very similar. They are 2 sides of the same coin in terms of their of what they're all about. And I just don't know what happened to Fuzzy Zeller. Really a different cat altogether.
I heard Fuzzy though could shoot.
Oh, he could certainly shoot.
Yeah, no.
Like I heard,
but he had a bad back.
Some nights,
he always had a bad back.
He had more shots than others. I can tell you that.
So seriously, how long is camp? And are they moving it anywhere? Or is it all here?
No, it'll be here this year. The camp, the actual camp is basically a week, a little more than a week. And then you go into the preseason. So, preseason kind of they're sort of one and the same, but they're not exactly. Technically, the camp is really only the first week and a little change. And then you go into what is a more traditional kind of practice sort of thing. So, it is essentially largely the same stuff. But it is, they will go through a week, and especially with Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff.
New coach, new systems.
They've gotten together, and in fact, I guess it would have been last weekend. They did their coaches retreat, and they went as a coaching staff out and hung out and started putting together spitballing ideas and all that sort of thing with the group. So yeah, it's getting down to it for sure. Not too much time left before these guys are really gonna hit it. It always comes quickly. That's the thing. You end up we talk, it's like football. You end up, we're talking about it for months and months, and then wham, you're right in the middle of the season. Now it's just boom, game day, let's go, game week, let's get it done.
What will be the first round of cuts, and who do you think will be the first players cut by the Grizzlies?
Well, I mean, again, I think the cuts will be dictated by what they can do with the veteran guys, and notably like Iguodala. You kind of figure out if ideally they would be able to make a move and get rid of him without having to take back any player asset or anything like that. And so you could go from there, and you could get rid of him, for example. And I mean, you would, if you could get rid of like a Miles Plumlee or something like that, that you made, or maybe even Solomon Hill, that's a possibility. But more likely than not, those guys, at least one of them, will stick around and be part of the group. But you'd like to go ahead and get rid of those veterans that are there for that purpose. If not, Brett, then you want to extend that out a little further. Then it would, a guy like Ivan Rabb would be the guy most likely to be cut. I suppose there's a possibility. Bruno is probably somewhat on the near the chopping block, but I think they would intend to hang on to him. To me, if it gets down to non-obvious, non-veteran type guys that they'd be looking to move, then Ivan Rabb would be the first guy that would be likely to be cut.
I'm trying to remember, what is his deal compared to Caboclo? Because there's still hope for Caboclo. I think I mentioned this the other week. I think the jury's in on Ivan Rabb.
Yeah.
Yeah, the deal is essentially, not a ton of difference, money-wise, about $1 million more in terms of guaranteed money for Caboclo, whose deal was guaranteed a few weeks ago, whereas Rabb's is not guaranteed yet. They pushed his guaranteed date back mutually. He and the Grizzlies both pushed it back towards it's right before the season starts now. So that allowed him to stay on the roster and gave them a little more time to figure out what it is that they had. But that's one of the reasons. It's down the list because, at this point, the Grizzlies have saved quite a bit of money. They wouldn't be any big deal for them. An extra $1 million here or there. They've saved well over that amount in all these deals that they've done. But, that's probably a secondary or tertiary kind of point. But, if that's part of it, then certainly Caboclo is due more guaranteed money than is Rabb.
Last
around the league. I'm sorry, Dave.
That's okay.
Around the league, Peter, do you see any potential for kind of like the Laramie Tunsil trade or years back in the NBA, the James Harden trade on season's eve?
Well, that the thing about some of those is you don't see them coming. You just kind of say,
right.
"Wow!"
Till it's on the ticker.
In retrospect, because of those things, it becomes more obvious. I don't, to answer your question, I don't really see anything like that. From a talent perspective, the Grizzlies themselves are probably involved in the closest thing, which would be the Josh Jackson acquisition. He's from 2 years ago, he's number 4 overall pick, and he's basically on the scrap heap at this point, fighting and scrapping for his position. I mean, does not have a number. He's a guy that certainly could be cut. I think the idea would be that there's no reason to, but technically they have to make a decision on his 4th year option by October 31st. So that will be an interesting discussion internally. How much information can they really glean from seeing him in training camp for a couple weeks, few games, and then you got to make a decision. And this is a $8.9 million option. This is not a little $1 million here and there. I mean, this thing's nearly $10 million. They got to make that determination early in the season. They probably will decline that, I would guess, barring just some crazy turn of events. But it is something that they have to consider. So they may be on the receiving end of the closest thing to that, Brett.
Last thing. I wasn't able to get up in the morning and listen to you on Monday. What was your take on the Memphis Ole Miss game?
Well, first of all, just a big thank you for not asking about the Tennessee game.
I purposely
really
did not
that.
go there
you're proud
at all. I don't understand how the Vols are favored over BYU, though, but it's another
very
story.
kind of you.
Vegas.
Yeah, I don't. I that one is I don't know. It's a mystery. That one. Memphis Ole Miss. Here's the thing, Dave. We discussed it, and I think you have to be overwhelmed with Adam Fuller and the job that defense did. Phenomenal stuff. Well ahead of schedule. Really just picked up right where he left off with Marshall last year in terms of run stopping and just injecting a great deal of confidence into a group, and they looked excellent. From Ole Miss's perspective, a lot of mistakes, a lot of sloppy play. Good, salty defensive line play at times, but a long way from where they need to be. And I've already called it something of a relegation battle this weekend for them in Arkansas at the bottom of the SEC West. I mean, it's a little more desperation than you are accustomed to seeing at this time of the year. What I'd like to see, though, Dave, from the Tigers tomorrow is let's do this as a proof of concept. Okay, I'm treating this like I'm the on Shark Tank or something like that. I want to see Brady White. We know, we've had the discussions. We talked about it this week. The arm strength, the ability to throw downfield, that kind of stuff. I looked at the numbers. He's had from good teams versus not so good teams, and it's a pretty stark difference in terms of a lot of stuff that's involved. So this week, I want to see let's run some stuff downfield. I mean, this should be your opportunity. Even if it takes you, it takes some of the numbers off the board points wise, you should still be comfortable. Run some 15, 20-yard stuff. Let's get down. Let's see what he's got, because ultimately this team has all the makings of one that could go a long way. But if they can't stretch the field a little bit, if they can't force teams to kind of look further down, especially if Patrick Taylor's going to have to carry a big load, we already saw that may be problematic for this group. I'd like to see a little more. I'd like to see a little more downfield for us. So this week, let's give it a shot.
I think you'll see more shots downfield. He did have one good-looking shot, and the tight end Sean Dykes stopped running. I mean, that was actually a good throw. I think you will see a few more shots taken, so you'll get your wish will be granted. Will Tennessee? This serious question, because I really don't know, and I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going on this game. I want to believe that Tennessee just did not bring enough effort. They took this team too lightly. It snowballed. They don't have that much experience, but that the attention was gotten this week, even though two guys left. Not guys that played in the game last week, but I hate it when a team loses players in the middle of the week. That's not usually a good sign. But I have to believe physically they will be much better this week than they were last week. BYU's a better team than Georgia State. We know that. So I don't understand the line, but I convince me Tennessee comes to play.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't know that they do. So I don't know if I can convince you of that. We don't know what kind of coach Jeremy Pruitt is. You know this well, Dave, and Brett, you certainly do too. We've all been around programs that have had a rough go of it. And you get that coach, and, Larry Porter had certainly had this. Coach O at Ole Miss certainly had this. You get that little stink on you where you just kind of like, John L. certainly had it, yeah. Where you just kind of get that, I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing. And once you get that early on, it's hard to get it off. I mean, it's real hard to get that off of the coach. And Jeremy's getting that. Like, that was kind of a skunk performance. Like, it just sprayed all over you. Like, is this guy any good? Does this guy know what he's doing?
And Peter, it's just no identity. What's the strong suit? What's the go-to play? What's when nothing else is working? We run this on offense. this on defense.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of SEC guys like that. This league is so far down on the coaching front from where it was 10 years ago. I've made this point all week in every forum I've been on. Just a 12-team league 10 years ago, but a third of the league was fresh from the NFL. Nick Saban, Steve Spurrier, Bobby Petrino, and Rich Brooks at Kentucky. A third of the league had been in the best football league in the world. There's a third of this league now that will never be head coaches again if they get fired in this job.
No, I mean, and it's been that way. It's been that way. I mean, you don't know what you've got at so many programs right now. Coach O, is basically looking this side of Bear Bryant these days because of what's happening, and that tells you. And I think Coach O certainly got a lot better as a coach, but I don't think that he should be
Dan Mullins, Bud Wilkinson.
Yeah. I mean, again, these guys are head and shoulders.
Let's put it this
above
way:
what we've got.
By your terms, the stink is off at Orgeron. When it comes to
because at LSU days he got whether people agreed, didn't agree, whatever, he got a very strong endorsement from the AD. He got a very strong push, and he did reasonably well when he got that opportunity. They weren't great, but they were competent. They were solid, and their guys have gotten better. And they are good at the stuff they're good at. As Brett says, you got a wheelhouse thing. They are horses. They got good athletes. They got strong line play. Quarterback really looks good and looked good last year, and he looked even better in week one. A spectacular performance by them. 5 for 5 right out of the gate with touchdowns. And I mean, Tennessee couldn't have, we couldn't run 5 touchdowns against me and you with the way they executed so poorly. Again, that's just coaching. And then so for Tennessee to go back to them in that stink I talk about, part of it is that Will Muschamp and South Carolina lost to North Carolina. That's not a great loss. North Carolina's not that great. Mac Brown, great story.
Well, they blew the game too. I mean, they had it under control.
They played poorly, and they lost to a mediocre at best team. But at least Will Muschamp comes out and he says, "I'm pissed off too, and I'm mad," and he's growling, acting like he cares. Jeremy Pruitt is kind of like, we got out-coached, and but the sun's going to come up, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And Vol fans are saying, "What the hell are you got? What are you talking about? Act like it matters to you. Act like you care. Act like you're personally wounded, because they are. They're personally wounded." And it seemed as though Jeremy Pruitt's just like, what are you going to do? You just got beat by a 2-10 Georgia State squad. These things happen. No, they don't. They do not just happen. That's crazy. Act like it matters to you. So that's part of it too. And the fans are like, "Oh, does this guy? Is he invested? Does it matter to him, or is he giving up on this thing already? Like, what is going on?" A lot of pressure, man. That's where I don't think BYU is a very good team.
I think
if they come out and score a couple touchdowns, that fan base, to the extent that they're there, it's going to get nasty.
He just did not know what to say after what just happened in that game, because he was beat on both sides of the line of scrimmage, in the line play even, by a team that was picked to go 2-10, a team that Memphis beat 59-22. Here's the worst thing for Jeremy.
161 rushing yards to -2 in the second half. I mean, what are you doing?
The worst thing for him is when people are going, "We should have had Mike Leach." And it's true.
Yes.
But that's still out there. And, what are you going to do? Peter?
I mean, it's done. So what do you have nothing to do about it now? I said, but hey, you know what? I'll tell you this, though. We got great deals coming up on we got dentist chairs and medical chairs and medical beds for these coaches this year.
Bed pans? Wait. The greatest bed? Well, it's a chair. What is it, an evaluation chair, like a dentist chair, whatever it is
it's
for you?
Chair. They're gonna overnight a dentist chair in and have it installed.
He doesn't stop, does he, Peter?
Spectacular. I'm doing one of those. I've decided, guys. I'm doing one of those teeter rockers where you flip upside down. I'm gonna do the Germantown game tonight, upside down from one of those beds tonight. So
honestly, I think
you be careful with that.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think he got it at Family Leisure. I think this thing came from Family Leisure.
He may be doing a swim spa. I hope so. I think that'd be the first coach to ever go from a swim spa.
That's next. That is next. Thank you, Peter. Oh, by the way, a texter on the First Bank text line says Germantown's going to annihilate Soda Central. His kids go there, and they're not quite.
His kids go where? To Germantown?
No, I think his kids go to Soda Central, yeah.
Well, I mean, again, Germantown was more talented last week than Cordova, and then just made a ton of mistakes. Man, it was a little bit of a shambolic situation at the end of the game. There's a lot of things that have to be done. There's a lot of things to clean up. So we'll see if they can get it cleaned up. They should have more talent, but I don't know. Guys got some work to do.
We're going to talk about that with our coach, Glenn Rogers, in the house. That comes your way next. Thank you, Peter. Have a great weekend.
See you, gentlemen.
This portion of the show brought to you by the Spirit Shop. We've already talked a little bit about what a good deal that is. Again, that is right at Poplar and St. Nick, right down from the Clark Tower, where you only get, and I'm not kidding, the finest or the bargains. Your choice. But they'll take care of you at the Spirit Shop. Load up for the weekend. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and that's the place where you get assurance. 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every car. That's an assurance. And then there's the shopper assurance. Now, you get the Hyundai assurance a lot of different places. But the shopper assurance, that's the brainchild of the general manager at Homer Skelton Hyundai, Chris True. That's where visible right there for you, right on the window, the price. Visible pricing right there, and it's a fair price. Then you want to test drive, it's called Flexible Test Drive. You take the car for an hour, 2 hours, a day, 2 days. You can take it. Really get to know the car. When you buy, in and out. Streamlined process. That's the way it works. And then if you've got any buyer's remorse, the 3-day worry-free exchange. So transparent pricing, flexible test drive, streamlined buying process, and then there's the 3-day worry-free exchange. It's the greatest merger, the greatest marriage of technology and service. That's what you get at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Back in a minute, high school football, front and center. Next with Glenn Rogers on Sportstime with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over 1/3 of Memphis's existence. Someone asked me if we remember the day the Rendezvous started, and I tell them no, because if we thought it was going to last this long, we'd have kept much better records. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich. It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on a bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. My grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the alley in downtown Memphis.
If you're the owner of a company and you're tired of a dirty office building, or maybe you're tired of dirty restrooms, or floors and carpets that are filthy, or windows that you can't even see through, I've got a solution. Let Trinity be your cleaning solution. Trinity Professional Services. They're putting professionalism back in cleaning. They specialize in stripping and waxing and buffing floors, in cleaning carpet. Just make it seem like it's spring outside. Window cleaning where you see through and everything shines. Commercial janitorial services specializing in final construction cleaning. Hey, the people that own this company, they are big construction people. They know what needs to be done. So if you would like it done the right way, call Todd Pope or Tommy Ferrari, the former Tiger quarterback, at 833-6773. 833-6773. It's Trinity. They're your cleaning solution.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so, too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2019 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday at 5 right here on Sports 66, 96.1, and 87.7. Drew, who do we got in the studio with us this week?
This week on the show, we have Maurice Jones and Mario Pratcher in studio with John and I as we recap Southern University, get you ready for South Alabama, and of course, we'll have some surprise special guests.
Thanks, Drew. We'll be here Sunday on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. The Blue and Gray Show, where we talk Tigers with Tigers.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Hello, welcome back in on the Football Friday. Wolo and Stats with you, and also Glenn Rogers Jr. What a big day of pub, Brett, for MUS. On the cover of the commercial appeal, there is a picture
It's some rivalry.
of Bobby Alston coaches on how prep football has changed over the years. And, of course, Bobby's been there forever. Then in the Memphian, John Varlas did a story about the 10-year anniversary of MUS and South Panola in a game.
The University of South Panola.
Do they like that? Or
they like that down there.
They do. They were
Stats. You know,
they
like
were
that
there. They kept feeding so many players. I don't know that they're quite the same as they used to, but they are one of the better games. They're involved in one of the better games this week. But here it is, the MUS Christian Brothers rivalry that goes back forever and ever.
1800s.
Yeah. Is it special?
Oh, absolutely.
To you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say happy anniversary to my wife before we get going. My wife told me that we've been
every
together
week
20
you got
years.
something. It's a birthday, and you have more things. I love it. You love celebrating. That's
20
great.
years. 20 years we've been together.
20 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
we married 20 years, been dating 23. We dated for 3 years, so just want to wish my wife a happy anniversary.
Very nice.
Well, I hope you're in a good mood.
She ride around with you in that bad machine you're in?
Yeah, she rode around with me last Sunday. She doesn't like old cars, though.
I hope you have something to celebrate when this is over tonight. And let's start with, this is week 2.
Yeah.
And MUS is playing Christian Brothers.
It is week 3. You know, we had week 0, week 1, week 2.
But it's your second week.
Yeah, it's our second
playing,
week.
And well, I guess it is the brothers' third game, isn't it?
Yeah, their third game as well. And, this game is always special. When I started the MUS, we always played them early on, like the third or fourth week, kind of like where we are now. And then that changed. The last 10 or 12 years, we've always played them the last game of the season or next to the last game. It
seems like there's more meaning to it. There's more on the line when that is played.
Usually when we play them in the end,
do you guys care?
Oh, with Coach Austin, it doesn't matter. You know, it's a rival game. Everybody it's been an electric atmosphere around the school all week. Anytime we play Christian Brothers, it's like that. The fans, I've been got a lot of calls from former players. Coach beat the brothers, a lot of text messages, emails, and so it means a lot to the MES community. I'm sure the same thing with Christian Brothers. It means a lot.
How did it go from being late in the year to week 3?
Well, the head coaches got together last year when Montgomery Bell and Pope John Paul came over to our side of the league, and they drew names, and then that's how we came to this schedule.
So random drawing.
Yeah, random drawing, and so we drew Christian Brothers as our first league game, and so that's how it went. From what Coach Austin told us as the coaching staff.
Glenn, you tell me if I'm right on this. I would imagine with the veteran experience that Coach Bobby Austin has, just a legend, that he reminds me a little how Gene Stallings was at Alabama. You could go to Gene Stallings, and he knew who Alabama opened with. He knew when they played Tennessee third Saturday in October, and he knew when the Iron Bowl was last game of the year. The rest of the schedule, he couldn't tell you from week to week. Just we play them when we get to them. Is Bobby Austin like that?
Yeah, Coach Austin takes it. He takes it week by week. You know, he doesn't.
Yeah.
One thing about Coach, he never overlooks an opponent. I mean, last week I thought he was spot on when we played Royal Egypt. He said, "Hey, we got to go in and take care of business. We can't overlook who we got next week. We just got to go in and handle our business. Make sure that the veteran type guys, make sure we play this game to get our younger guys in because they deserve it." And so he does a good job week to week of assessing who we need to, or who we're playing, and what we need to do in that ball game.
What will we hear tonight? How good is Christian Brothers? They're undefeated.
Yeah, that Christian Brothers is very good, well coached. You know, Coach McDaniel he's got a good staff. He's a good coach. Al Wooten is a good player, running back, linebacker. And, of course, they got Dallin Hayden, Aaron Hayden's middle son. Dallas got a couple of offers. He's cornerback and running back. And so they're big up front, which they normally are. They're big up front. They look like to me defensively, Will Norton and then the other defensive end. They're kind of missing that pass rushing, big, overwhelming pass rushing defensive end. But they're still solid on defense. They got good players. Like I said, Dallin Hayden is on the outside. Al plays linebacker.
And they're physical, aren't they?
They all Christian brothers.
They just like to pop you.
Even when I was in high school, they've always been physical. I think this is in the fabric and the DNA of the school.
Yeah, they like it that way.
Yeah.
Glenn, of course, this is a big one. What do you think some of the top 2 or 3, 4 rivalries around town in your day? What was your biggest, and what were some of the biggest back in the day?
Well, I think this game is Christian Brothers MUS game date back to the late 1800s. So this is I think it's the 14th oldest rivalry in the country. Christian Brothers and MUS. When I played, our big rival was Hamilton High School at Southside. Hamilton was our big rivalry.
But if we're talking about, I think, the rivalry that is perceived by Memphians, that Hamilton's involved in, wouldn't it be Melrose and Hamilton?
Melrose and Hamilton. I'm talking about, for me, Southside, it was Hamilton or either Northside.
But if we're looking at the city rivalries,
Melrose and Hamilton was always a big rivalry. Used to be Whitehaven, Hillcrest, but Hillcrest has fell off so much.
I'll tell you one. When I first got here, and we did on TV several times, that was huge, and it's not anymore. Fraser and Tresvant was a wonderful,
it was a big
wonderful North Side kind of rivalry.
Yeah, it was. And then you got, Melrose. Like I said, Hamilton. And then you had Melrose and Southside, Melrose and Northside. Northside and Melrose always had good football teams. And so, you always had a lot of good ball games, a lot of good coaches in the area.
Willie Fry at Northside.
Yeah, Willie Fry at Northside, yeah. And so then Mitchell with Matt Sharp, he had great teams with Nico Perkins and those guys. So it was a lot of good solid high school teams back then.
I would have to think in the old days before you played, when your dad was around, Central had to have
definitely.
White Station or East High School.
I think Central and White Station, or Central and East, was a big rivalry. And then Central viewed Hamilton as a big rivalry. When I was coming up, that was a big game for Central, was Hamilton.
Just in this whole area, if we're talking about things like that, West Memphis and Marion is a huge knockdown drag-out. Is it not there, Brett?
Yep.
I think they are, and I would have to think that Olive Branch now and South Haven?
And it used to be Olive Branch and South Panola. Well, that was a hated rivalry. I watched when we was playing both teams. I witnessed a fight in that game during the end of one of those games. So that was a real heated rivalry with Olive Branch and South Panola. But South Panola always got the better of them.
There is an Arkansas powerhouse, Little Rock, North Little Rock, taking on Whitehaven tonight. That is at North Little Rock. And that's got to be hard to pick. Obviously, Whitehaven is always really, really good, but I think North Little Rock is pretty good too. They're both 2-0. How do you see that game? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, well, North Little Rock, they had a tailback that graduated last year. Really, really good. He went to a smaller school. And Whitehaven, with these 3 linebackers, anytime you got 3 SEC caliber kids, all 3 of these kids are committed to SEC schools, that's going to get anybody's attention. And, don't know much about North Little Rock this year. I know last year they ran the ball very well. But it's going to be tough to run on those 3 SEC linebackers. My thing is special teams tonight in that ball game is going to be a huge difference maker. Whitehaven sometimes have a problem in the kicking games. If the offense can put some points up, and the defense will hold up. But my thing is special teams. I'm gonna give the edge to North Little Rock. I think they may have the advantage in special teams.
You have been on the money so far.
I know
this
that
year with some very bold predictions. So this is a big one here. He's going against the Memphis area team. Cordova at South Panola. Here's your South Panola University. They're back on track. There's a battle of 2-0s.
Yeah, and Derek Wimley. Marcus Wimley. I'm sorry, Marcus Wimley does an outstanding job. Year in and year out, no matter where he's at, East or wherever he's at. Now he's at Cordova. He always does an excellent job. They're going to have their hands full tonight. It's tough. If you've never played down there at South Panola, Dave, and Stats, this. It's a tough environment, especially when they're off to a good start. They're 2-0. They're off to a good start. I think Cordova will be handed their first loss tonight because I think when South Pinola's off to a good start, it's a tough environment down there to come home with a victory.
So there we go. You do have South Pinola winning that game.
Yeah, I got South Pinola.
I think that's going to be a very close game. I would not be
game.
surprised if Cordova actually pulled that off.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I think, if you've never played in that environment, it's very, very intimidating. And if you haven't been in that type of atmosphere, it can overwhelm you.
So here's the surprise this year in their brand new stadium, Collierville. They're not home tonight, though. They have to go to Central and play at Crump. Central, with the loss of those 5 really good players to West Memphis, has struggled. I mean, I don't know when's the last time a major right team began the year 0-2.
0-2, exactly.
Does Central right the ship today against the Cinderella Collierville team?
I think, Major, to me, tonight, I think it's the night he'll get a win. And I think, Major has a lot of pride. He's a good coach. Those kids at Central, they're used to winning. And, 0-2 stars really probably got their attention. I'm sure Majors has had a great week in practice, preparing for Collierville. And, Joe Riccone is doing an outstanding job. It's tough to go on the road and beat a good team, and he'll have his hands full tonight. I think Central will get off the snide tonight and get a win.
Finally, Major Wright gets a W. What about Haywood at Olive Branch? Haywood's a perfect 2-0. Olive Branch, in a surprise way, lost their first game. They're 0-1.
Yeah,
surprising.
It was surprising. And I think, Olive Branch will get a win tonight. They're well coached, a lot of talent down there in Olive Branch. It's probably one of the jobs a lot of coaches dream about because they got so much talent in that area. And I think they'll get a win tonight. Haywood will travel down, but I think Olive Branch will get a win tonight.
Well, that's a crowded talent level scene, though, isn't it, Glenn? It's a lot of schools and a lot of players.
It is. Olive Branch, South Haven, all those schools in North Mississippi. It's Lewisburg. It's a lot of talent in that area down there.
That is the biggest growth area.
It is.
In this area. The Mid-South.
In the country.
Yeah,
It is amazing how I can remember when I first got here, South Haven was talked about.
Yeah.
That had been around for a long time.
Hernando
maybe
a little.
Horn Lake a
Hernando,
little bit, maybe.
You're right.
How about Horn Lake? I think Horn Lake
Horn Lake's been around
a long
yeah.
time. Then came Olive Branch, and that run that they had, and now everybody is exploding. That's interesting. Mitchell, believe it or not, as good as they've been, they haven't been 3-0 in about 7 years. They're 2-0, and they're taking on MAHS.
They're Mars.
Are they about to go 3-0?
I think they will. I think Mitchell will get a win tonight. Coach Cole does a great job. He always has an exciting offense. They play good, tough defense, and I think Cedric Miller's at Mars. It'll be a tough ball game tonight, but I think Mitchell will pull it off. I think Mitchell will get the win.
Private sector ECS is 2-0. It looks like they're
Jalen
starting
Greenwood,
to come back a little bit. But they've got Harding. Harding is a 500 team, and Harding, which had been so good for so many years, seems to have lost quite a bit of enrollment.
A
lot of
enrollments down
of players. ECS did too, and then it was Turner.
But Jonas Rodriguez, the ECS former coach, who's at BGA now, did an excellent job of getting that ship turned around. And now Scott Vogel and Trey Adams, Roy Adams, their nephew, is there, the head coach now.
Well, and I believe Braxton Brady, who does a lot of work with the University of Memphis, is the headmaster there now.
Yep.
And he was telling me they have like 60, I think it's 60 or 65 more students since spring to fall. They added that many, which is amazing.
It is excellent
for the private school sector. And that's part, I guess, population base always helps you for this 2-0 start.
Yeah, and
sure
anytime Dave in stats, when you got a winning product, people want to be a part of it. I know when we had those runs, our enrollment was way up, and then when you got these big schools like Collierville, building a new school in Arlington, and now Bartlett. When you got these big public schools go up and all this new stuff, people tend to gravitate to it, and I think that's what happened with ECS. But like I said, Jonas Rodriguez got it turned around. Jalen Greenwood. If you don't know this guy, Dave and Stats, you'll find out about him. He's an outstanding tailback. He's super fast and very quick, and he's a home run hitter. When he breaks the line of scrimmage, if you don't have a guy back there running 4-4 better, he's going to be gone because he's electrifying when he gets the ball in his hands.
Start the fight song.
last game, because it's another one. The Christian Brothers MUS game will be on Sports 56 on 87.7 and 96.1. You will also have Germantown and DeSoto Central. We had a texter say it's going to be one-sided. The newspaper doesn't think it's going to be that one-sided. They slightly will give Germantown the nod. How do you break that game down?
Yeah, I think Germantown gets a win, and they tough loss last week at home against Cordova, a solid team, but Germantown, new coach, 22-game win streak got snapped last week. I think those kids have a lot of pride, and they'll bounce back from that. It'll be a good ball game tonight, but I think Germantown will pull it off. Germantown
the winner. Okay. Good luck to you. Good luck to
to
Christian Brothers.
Yeah.
By
sure.
the way, we
great rivalry.
I respect it. I know the crowd will be crazy. That is at Christian Brothers.
It's at MUS.
It's at MUS.
Yeah, at MUS. And I'm so proud of the Tigers and Coach Norvell and the defense. That was an exciting game last week. To watch our defense step up. And, the best part of that game for me, David, I like Matt Luke. I think Matt is a great coach, Ole Miss guy. But, the best part of that game for me last week, when the Tigers got in the 4-minute offense and ran the ball to secure the win, that was the most exciting part of that ball game. To see us do that.
You know what the 4-minute offense leads to?
Yeah.
The best two words in football. Victory formation.
Victory formation. Yeah.
Well, if I could be a little bit more accurate, that's 6-minute 42-second.
That led to the 4-minute offense. 6:42 leads to 4. That leads to victory formation.
Hats off to Adam Fuller. He's done an amazing job.
And Mike Norvell rolling the dice when he had to.
Yeah.
He did.
I mean, he came to win.
All right, so
Ole Miss
honestly,
was very improved.
defensive guy, but when it was 4th and 2, what did you think Mike was going to do?
I thought he was going to run the ball, but that shuffle pass was.
So but you didn't think before.
I thought maybe he would stall and call a timeout.
I thought he was trying to get him to go offsides and then
maybe get him to jump and then punt the ball. But when they actually went for it, I'm thinking, well, they're gonna hand this ball off to Patrick Taylor because I probably would.
Well, Patrick wasn't in then.
And he wasn't in, and so the guy, our quarterback rolled out Brady Davis, and then shuffle pass, get shuffle pass forward, but our line came off the ball. I was like, that was exciting for me to see that the Tigers. We ran the ball against the SEC. Caliber school like Ole Miss, and it was exciting to see our guys do that.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk in a second a little bit about the Tigers and Southern. That'll be the first ever meeting between the Tigers and anybody from the SWAC. So we'll get into that in a second.
Go
Thank
Tigers,
you.
Go.
Thank you very
guys.
much. We appreciate it. This portion of the show brought to you by a guy who says, "Go Tigers, go too." That's Matt Eflin from the Eflin Insurance Group. Over 20 years of experience all in this local market. He's a young guy, but I'm telling you, as soon as he got out of college, he was off and running. He's got several offices. The main one is in Bartlett on 8099 Stage Hills Boulevard. And part of the reason why he's built up such clientele is that, one, he specializes in all types of insurance needs. That's personal or business insurance. And then his approach, it's a unique one. It's one-on-one. He evaluates each individual's insurance needs. And again, whether that's personal or business, he sits you down. What do you need to protect? What's most important to you? Let's look in this direction. He works with you. If you would like personalized service, all you got to do is call for quotes. 757-2315. 901-757-2315. That's the Eflin Insurance Group. Back in a minute, we put a wrap on hour number 2 of the Friday edition of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. It is that time of year where the weather is unpredictable, and given the recent storms, it's a good time to discuss insurance claims. So here's a few things you should know. Always hire a local contractor, because if you have a problem with your roof down the road, you want to be able to find him. Never allow anyone to pressure you into signing a contingency contract. They're used as sales tools, making you feel committed, and the truth is, those contracts are not worth the paper they're written on. Be careful of door-knocking salesmen. Some are reputable, but many are not. They canvass the neighborhood and tell everyone to file a claim, working the percentages and not caring if you file a claim even when they know the likelihood of it being approved is low. Some will even damage your roof, hoping to convince the adjuster it's storm damage. That's fraud, and contractors have gone to jail for that. So do your research and know who you're hiring. Five-Ash Roofing, the official roof of the University of Memphis Athletic Department. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Duncan Williams Investment Bankers presents Brett Young live at the Garden, Saturday, September 14th at the beautiful Memphis Botanic Garden. One night, Brett Young, all the hits, with opening act Riley Green. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, visit liveatthegarden.com. Doors open at 6:30, show starts at 8:30. Also presented by FedEx, True Green, Infinity of Memphis, Regions Bank, Radians, Pro Show, Mahaffey Tent, and PDR. Brett Young live at the Garden, Saturday, September 14th.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back as we conclude our second hour. Coming up, so you know, Rick Coro in the business of sports, and then we start to make a few picks tomorrow. The Tigers are 37.5-point favorites against Southern. You realize this is the first
that game
ever meeting between between the Tigers program and anybody in the SWAC, the Southern Jags?
1,000th game for Southern University, and I mentioned some people that share that as alma mater, including Hall of Famer Aeneas Williams. He just went in recently. I mentioned Lou Brock and Vida Blue yesterday, and our friend Reggie Williams went to Southern U.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Where is Reggie Williams now?
I don't know. I miss Reggie.
I do too.
Always great to have on.
You know what? I don't think I've ever met a guy who was always up, even in critically tough times. Reggie Williams was always a guy with a smile on his face and the half glass full. I mean, really. That's the thing I most remember about him.
Harold Carmichael went to Southern U. Frank Pitts, remember him on the Kansas City Chiefs? Mm-hmm. Good wide receiver. And that's
Harold Carmichael
Bolden.
Was really good.
Frank Pitts is Brandon Bolden's granddad. He went to Southern U. Isaiah Robertson, good linebacker for the Rams in the 70s and early 80s, went to Southern U. I mentioned Mel Blount yesterday. Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun, and honestly, the halftime show is supposed to be incredible. Their band is called the Human Jukebox, and it's supposed to be
good.
Some kind of show. Hey, they're good. They were 7-4 last year, and they got 17 returning starters. They were in the SWAC title game. They lost Alcorn State in that one, and we'll see who the guy that stops up. I've already mentioned. I think you're going to see more throws downfield. It'll be fun to watch what Kenny Gainwell can do against this team. And if this defense, it can be as stout as it was a week ago. Same time, 11 o'clock. That'll be tomorrow morning at the Liberty Bowl. We take a break. When we come back, Business of Sports with Rick Horrell. We've missed him the last couple of weeks. We'll check in with the professor from Harvard and, of course, the family of NBC stations. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Eli Savoy here for my friends over at the Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Here to let you know it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with the new arrivals from TaylorMade. Introducing the new P790 irons and the new milled grind 2 wedges. The P790 irons feature speed foam technology and redesigned tungsten weighting for optimum feel and distance. And the new milled grind 2 wedges designed for increased spin and precision with raw face technology. Let them help you find the right set and get your free custom fitting today. Just a few of the exciting new fall releases you will find now at the Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shop and check out new P790 irons and the new milled grind 2 wedges. The Edwin Watts Golf Shop on the corner of Poplar and Perkins Extended. We'll see you there. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, serving golfers since 1968.
Shopper Karen's moving through JCPenney with a cute cardigan and boots, but can she buy both? She looks at the tags, and the prices are low! And they're going home with Karen.
Friday to Sunday only, rush to the Super Savings Blitz at JCPenney. Ladies, stack your roster with select St. John's Bay tees for just $7.99. Guys, you get 50% off select St. John's Bay apparel. And the whole team gets an extra 25% off with their JCPenney credit card and coupon. Find it in the app wallet. JCPenney. Offers valid 9/6 to 9/8. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Grizz Nation, all new 10, 22, and flex packs for the Grizzlies 2019-2020 season are on sale now. Big savings and guaranteed seats for the Lakers, Pelicans, Warriors, and more, starting at $12 per game. Get yours today by calling 901-888-HOOP or shop grizzlies.com.
A while ago, my wife attended a woman's retreat. A few days after returning from the retreat, she received a letter which had concluded with a prayer, and the prayer went like this: "Oh God, help me to believe the truth about myself, to know myself, no matter how beautiful or not beautiful it may be." What a prayer. Hard to pray, isn't it? Hard because, unfortunately, even the message of Christianity, the most affirming, I believe, of all the faiths, has come through as a self-denial. To be sure, there is a place for self-denial, but not so much at the self-depreciation of it. We are God's creation, and He's known us from the beginning. Write down the prayers in your life, memorize them, pray them daily, and they'll change your life. But also pray that God will help you know yourself and what an incredible treasure you are. I'm Shane Stanford with Christ Church Memphis. You matter.
Visit ChristchurchMemphis.org.
If you're an outdoorsman and love all things hunting and fishing, be sure to listen to Sports 56 Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. for Outdoors Today. Brought to you by The Gun Store, 6920 Winchester in Memphis. Outdoors Today is a 1-hour show hosted by veteran Mark Tobin and a group of respected outdoor-loving guests. Outdoors Today is dedicated to bringing outdoorsmen tips and techniques and tactics to help with your hunting and fishing in all seasons. Saturday mornings at 6 on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this busy Friday afternoon. We talked the business of sport with Rick Harrow, who lives in Palm Beach, and last Friday couldn't be with us. They were being evacuated and hunkered down for the hurricane, and glad so many down there are okay. But, boy, our friends in the Bahamas, it looks really rough on them, and plenty of work for them down in that area. We talk with Rick after I tell you about DeSoto Auto Sales, where they specialize in late model cars with low mileage, high standards in the car industry at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars are test driven, checked out quite literally, head to toe, bumper to bumper, with an unlimited inventory, every make and every model. If it's not on the lot, DeSoto Auto Sales will go out and find it for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by very kind, very courteous employees, down-home, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They want you to have the ultimate car experience, though. When you walk in, test drive your car, get credit approved, paperwork done, you're out of there in about 45 minutes. We're living in a world today that time matters, and they know that at DeSoto Auto Sales. It's that simple. Visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road.
A couple of guys reminded us, it could have been gals too, on the First Bank text line, going back years, the best high school rivalry was Central and Tech.
Legendary.
Yeah. So we thank you for that information. Always a pleasure to talk with Rick Horrow, who has been dodging hurricanes. And by the way, Charleston, I thought was going to get popped. I know a few people in Charleston, and it turned out that it wasn't nearly as menacing as it was going to be. So we're grateful for little things. We're grateful that Rick Horrow is able to join us today, the professor from Harvard, and, of course, the NBC family of stations. And you're doing a bunch of stuff on the biz with the U.S. Open and pay and things of that nature. But we started chatting about this, and you're a bit of a historian as well. Can we make the case for Serena Williams as maybe the greatest athlete of all time? We know she's the greatest female tennis player, but how far would you take that greatest mantle?
Well, it is interesting because, I'm thinking that not even a newcomer, like a 19-year-old, is going to hold a candle to her tomorrow. He's been nervous in the last couple of finals. I think I see a blowout tomorrow. Assuming that happens, she's got to be right up there. Look at the longevity. Look at the consistency. Look at the comeback from motherhood. I mean, it's painful, and it's just like it's amazing. And I'm happy to call her a neighbor. She was right down the street, and I'm sure she hasn't been back from the hurricane too. By the way, I'm proud to say that I'm in a bar at the terminal at DFW. I'm heading home for the first time in 20 days, and yes, I'm going to start drinking because I'm going home, and I get to do all the duty of all of the shutters and all that from a hurricane that never came. But I also am ready to see my Miami Dolphins begin the season of agony against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday.
I know agony when it comes to the NFL. That is for sure, because I'm a huge Bears fan, and it did not go the Bears' way last night. You sent us a note.
Let me just tell you that Jeff Lurie, who's a really good friend of mine, owns the Eagles, and he has a comment that I've promoted. I think it's really good. NFL is unmatched in their ability to monetize hope, meaning everybody has a chance. And so I did what I normally do, which is every time this year, like yesterday, I called all the owners. I called the other 30 that didn't play last night and wish them luck, because after today, half of them are upset. And to your point, the Bears are good friends, the Hallis family and the Caskies and all that, but they're really upset today, don't you think?
Oh, well, they could be okay with their defense.
Did y'all hear that crowd booing last night?
That offense and
how about that? I mean,
that was brutal, Rick.
And the highlight of the day was when the kid from University of Florida makes the field goal. So
right,
Eddie Pinero. Kind of a weird night.
It was. The NFL seems determined to go to 18 regular season games. It's early in the NFL and the NFLPA, CBA talks, but it sure feels like they're headed to 18-game regular season.
Well, but it's got to be negotiated, so it'll be in the context of a lot of other stuff. But I do think that every year when you see that fourth preseason game on that Thursday night where people are just trying to get done with it, you realize that it's a shift. They're talking about 20 games, but the 18 count. And the Players Association has a point where they're saying, 18 head knockers, not 16 and 2. So you got to pay us more, but we're going to be making more money because the league is now going to be able to charge more for 2 extra regular season games. I think there are the assets available to work this out. It'll take a while, but let's remember the sky is not falling. The NFL makes $16 billion a year or so, and they still got a year to make the deal. So I know we would have all been comfortable if the deal was made this last year, in last month, because baseball did it a year in advance. But let's not start holding a bake sale for the NFL. Let's not get our tickets for the Canadian Football League replacement games or the scab games just yet.
The interesting thing to me, I don't think they need 4. But they obviously need 2, and I think teams need to recognize part of that booing, I think, on Trubisky and the Bears last night in Soldier Field was because they didn't play starters in the exhibition games. So these guys are coming out, and if you're going to play exhibition games, I'm not saying play every guy every snap, but give them some reps because
Gotta get some
the
work.
Bears' offense was just anemic.
Well, I think people will learn from what happened last night. Maybe it happens all over the league on Sunday. And let's remember that Aaron Rodgers wasn't exactly great the first half of the game yesterday, and he had one drive basically,
right?
And he didn't play at all during the preseason. And so, if the preseason's last game, or even the whole preseason, is going to be relegated to see who the bottom 10 on each 53-man roster are going to be, then so be it. But I'm not sure we can ask fans to pay for that.
Rick, who won between Ezekiel Elliott and Jerry Jones?
Interesting question. I am in Dallas today, and all people were asking me was, did we overpay for Ezekiel Elliott? Well, yeah, but then the question is not that, but should you have? And the answer is probably so.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a comment on Dak Prescott's not, maybe they don't have confidence in him leading the team through the air. With Ezekiel Elliott, you give him the ball 30 times, and you're fine with that. So I'd like to think that they both won and they both lost.
I can buy that with Ezekiel Elliott, and I can understand why he's doing what he's doing. He's a running back in a position that doesn't last very long. What about the Rams and Jared Goff to pay the $110 million guaranteed for a 4-year period? That this guy is going to get that money without question. I know he's the most important position player on the team, but that seemed to me, I know Goff won. I don't know if the Rams did.
Well, two things about that. First, it's that time that we started thinking about a little more Case Keenum guaranteed process around the NFL. Because when you think of all the dead money contracts in baseball and the guaranteed contracts for people that didn't pan out, that time football got some. That's my agency side talking, and I don't have one. So let's forget that. The second part, though, is that the Rams made a major commitment to tell their fans just a couple of years from now, the stadium's coming, the revenue is coming, the team's coming, you're going to love this $5 billion complex, and we're going to be ready for it. So if the Rams did a little more than they probably should have, it's just making up for lost time.
Speaking of NFL and quarterbacks, Tom Brady beat out Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the most marketable player in the NFL. I guess we trust and feel good about Brady, and he's not the brash young guy. Why do we keep going to Brady?
Because Brady in a wheelchair, based on that offense, could beat 24, 25 of the NFL teams. That's why. And so over the last few years, he's earned it. I don't mind having Brady and Mahomes be 1 and 1A as the faces of the NFL, because that's a good thing for the NFL. And look at the other faces. They're in Cleveland. You have Beckham and Mayfield as 3 and 4. So you have a mixture. You have skill position guys. You have quarterbacks. And all I'm going to say is it's pretty darn good that the NFL has an old senior statesman and a bunch of young guys, because that's what makes the league go round.
And you alerted us about the ticket demand for this year's NFL international games, up 55% compared to 2018, according to StubHub. Would it ever get so good internationally that the NFL had a franchise in London or Mexico City?
Well, they're moving toward more of a presence, and they're going to blow back on any franchise process. But they will tell you that, Shad Khan and the Jacksonville Jaguars, he has major businesses in London, so there's going to be more and more of that. They're playing 2 games at Tottenham Stadium for the first time ever, not just Wembley. So they're going to do more and more to build a solid brand in London, and frankly, in Monterey and in Mexico City, short of having a permanent franchise there. Good for the NFL.
Geographically, I could see Mexico City. I could see Mexico. How could you really put a team in London and have the travel woes that you will? Unless you bring back those supersonic planes they stopped using.
Well, yeah, those planes don't have enough. The linemen can't go. The linemen have to stand on the wings because they're too big.
Can't work.
Obviously kidding. But listen, if you wanted to make a case and really, it's not happening now. let's put it this way. 5.5 hours one way from Miami or New York to London. 6 hours, Miami to Seattle. It's not, there are cultural issues, but transportation in and of itself isn't the issue. There would be, maybe you do 3 home games and 3 away games, and you let the team stay away for a while and go back and forth. That's not the issue to me. The issue is playing games over the continent on a regular basis with a franchise. And I think before you even think about that, you'll have more regular season games there short of a franchise. I think you may have Pro Bowl. People are even talking about Super Bowl over there before you may have a real franchise. But just because it's going to be a couple more hours in the air, I don't think that's the issue. I think there are a lot of other issues.
A Super Bowl there? That would be interesting.
Yeah. They're talking about it. I mean, there's an opportunity, global TV. Obviously, they got to play at weird hours. But Super Bowl is one of those events that is not destined to be only in cities that are NFL cities. They happen to be. And now Vegas will be in the rotation, L.A. So I don't know when it'll be, by the way, because there are a lot less opportunities today. I'm in Dallas today, and I love AT&T Stadium as the home of a Super Bowl. They had the worst day in the history of the universe on the last day. Ironically, last time they had a Super Bowl here, they had 4,000 inches of ice. Yeah, ice, and everybody got screwed. And the bottom line was, not Jerry Jones' fault for the ice storm. This place deserves a Super Bowl as part of the rotation. So you got Houston, Vegas, Phoenix, San Diego, no more because the team's not there. But L.A., San Francisco, you have Detroit, Minnesota. They're not going to have many because they got domes. Atlanta, obviously, New York, baby, Miami, Tampa. Listen to all the cities. So it's a lot harder to get a game today than it used to be.
Rick, I know you. I would assume you're pretty good buds. You know Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins. You go way back to Joe Robbie and even Danny Thomas with a piece of the Miami Dolphins back in the day.
How old do you think I am? Perhaps by the way, you're right. But I'm going to strangle you when I find you. That's just say that. So, go ahead.
But it seems like they waved the white flag before the season started, did they?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm sucking it up, and I've been to every opener, and I still have 4 season tickets that had left me in 1966 when I was 11, before he died of cancer. He gave them to me when he knew he wasn't going to make it. And Steve Ross and Joe Robbie and Wayne Heisinger have a soft spot. So I have 4 seats that are never used with a plaque under each of them. And when I sit in Steve Ross's box, we've got a security force that makes sure that interlopers don't sit in those seats. Having said that, you know my passion and you know my history and legacy. It's more and more difficult to watch that team every minute because, yeah, let's worry about the first round draft pick, but it's hard to do that on September 9th.
We are talking with Rick Horrow, professor of sports business at Harvard and the family of NBC stations. And every week he sends us a bunch of different nuggets that are always interesting. There was a story that I'd seen before this nugget came out, but it's something we've talked about on these airwaves before, but I'd love your sense of it all. Participation in high school sports dropped for the first time in 30 years this past 18-19. Football, though, was the biggest one that dropped, and it's dropped for 5 years in a row. In affluent areas in particular, where maybe private high schools were really big on football, now participation is dwindling at an alarming rate. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, I know. And I have been on the board of Pop Warner, and John Butler, the executive director, really good friend. He's doing it right, but the perception is sometimes bigger than the reality. And so it's hard to fight the juggernaut going the other way. You notice in that same study, flag football is up, other forms of football are up, women playing sports is up. So it's really kind of up to society to police, to be comfortable, and also understand that the safety issues ought to be the ones that you look at to determine whether you have your kids in football or not. It's an individual decision. But I don't think anybody can say that football is so inherently unsafe that you shouldn't play it. Anybody that says that, you got to respect your own kids, but that's pretty dramatic. And just hope that people understand the benefits of football, and maybe they outweigh the decision to be dramatic about all of this. But it is a very, very significant warning flag. You're absolutely right.
Last thing for Rick Horrow, our friend who joins us in this time slot every Friday, Toyota, which is the top sponsor of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, apparently is going to provide 3,700 vehicles when everybody comes for the games in the next year. They will include dozens of self-driving cars, about 500 fuel cell vehicles, and 850 battery electric cars, according to, international sports competition. Who gets, the self-driving car? Are you going to be a fan that comes over, a member of the media? You go to
Self-driven?
You go to the rental place, and they go, oh, by the way, we're giving you a self-driving car? How's that work?
I've already, I'm going, and I've already reserved I'm going to have 2 drivers, just in case one has a heart attack. So they're both going to be in the front seat, okay? So you're on your own on that. I'm telling you. And frankly, because of what you just did, I hope you get a damn self-driving car. Yeah, so God bless you.
Hey,
I ain't doing it, man. I'm just telling you. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it.
Those guys know. I'll take the chance. Give me the car.
Yeah, let's remind each other. Let's remind each other a year and a half from now. No self-driving cars. Let other people do it.
Crazy,
I agree, Rick.
Crazy stuff. Rick, thank you.
Good luck to the Dolphins Sunday.
Good luck
for you.
Good luck to your Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Yeah, right. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you.
Good luck to your travels. How about that? That'll work.
Yeah, I can deal with that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Later. Bye.
We'll talk to you next week. That is Rick,
Thank you, Rick.
Horrow, who's kind enough to join us. He's brought to you in part by Campbell Clinic, and we got high school football tonight. Makes me think, accidents do happen. Football players have injuries. The only pet place in town with pediatric orthopedics, well, that would be Campbell Clinic. In fact, they got a whole team of them. Nobody's got them except the 6 at Campbell Clinic who treat kids every day, all day. They're the experts, and they're the ones that your child deserves to see when their growing bodies get injured, whether it's a football game tonight or some sort of organized activity. Maybe it's a bump and bruise on a playground. There's going to be something that happens. It always does. And Campbell Clinic's team is here for your team. They also specialize in very complex issues like scoliosis and childhood hip pain. All you got to do is make this call if you've got any issue like that. 759-3111 or go online to campbellclinic.com and schedule an appointment today. You and your child will be glad that you did. And this portion of the show also brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai and Olive Branch, with all the assurance in the world, the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, the shopper assurance, which has so many nice things, all to make it easy for you. And I got to mention the certified pre-owns. They're the best, number one in the market for the last 11 years. This is the perfect place for a marriage of service and technology. These are the best cars. That's why you get assurance. And the certified Hyundais have to be Hyundais. That's why they are all so good. See the way car business should be done by taking Lamar into Mississippi, turn left at Craft Road. You'll have found it. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. Back in just a minute. Yes.
Hang on just a second. I can't wait till Sunday for the Titans and the Browns, because we've heard so much of this build up for the Browns, and really ready to see them finally hit the field. And Mike Vrabel's team, it had some big wins last year and almost got in the playoffs. Looking forward to Browns Titans Sunday at noon.
I am too, and I actually have that down as one of my shocks and locks in our focus that is coming up. So we've talked this week a lot about Ole Miss and Arkansas. We've talked a little bit about Tennessee and BYU, and I know we're going to discuss that here when we make some of our picks. We talked about LSU and Texas. We haven't talked that much about Clemson and A&M. We did get the prediction of a Clemson win, but a cover from our friend from the Gold Sheet, Bruce Marshall.
And that game kind of snuck up on us last year being
it did.
competitive.
Here's where Trevor Lawrence might face a pretty stiff defense.
Mm-hmm. And this weekend for the SEC, if you think the critics came out, rightfully so, with some of the performances last weekend and losses and in some of the wins, as I went through it earlier in the week with you, it could be a pinata after this weekend.
Any other game that really intrigues you without giving too much away on your shocks and your locks?
In SEC or nationally?
Either way.
I think a bunch in SEC intrigues me. I mentioned about Tulane maybe keeping it close with Auburn. BYU and Tennessee, we know the stakes there. The stakes for Barry Odom.
I was just going to say that.
And Texas LSU, that's the obvious one. And then in league play, we mentioned quite a bit Arkansas and Ole Miss. Southern Miss playing Mississippi State in that rivalry. We'll talk about and we'll pick that when we do our picks in a few minutes. I think there's plenty. And nationally, you touched on it with Bruce. Ohio State hosting Cincinnati. Was Cincinnati really that good last weekend? Was Cincinnati really that good last weekend?
I think Cincinnati is a very good football team. I don't know if they're in Ohio State's league. We'll get a sense of it. And we know Luke Fickell
a little more body of work.
Well, Luke Fickell's going to know a lot about Ohio State, not just from the last week, but being around that program for a while. So that to me is intriguing. And who knows? Cincinnati might be the best team in the American. All that will play out.
I've got one more NFL game I'm looking forward to Sunday, and it's in the noon spot. The Battle of New York, and it's not the Giants and the Jets. It's the Jets hosting Buffalo. For either of those young quarterbacks, either Allen or Sam Darnold, I know just opening day, but who's making progress? Who can teams and fans and players in the locker room start to rally around?
I have no feel for that game. I'll be very honest with you. I have a feel for the Giants in Dallas.
Andrew Luck.
Oh, the Colts could be a mess. I have no idea.
They could be. We're getting ready to do some picks.
How that whole thing.
And we got to pick it up on the group locks. We all had the Bears last night. Last weekend we all had Mississippi State. So we're off to 0-2 group locks, and that's not good.
We can blame last night on Dave, right? Because, he got us all hyped. He talked us into it. He sang Bears down.
We are.
It's his fault.
Can we? Of course we can blame it all on Dave.
I would not. You blame me. I'm okay
Your
with
Bears.
That. It's the Bears. It's the Bears that need the blame, and I think it's Nagy, and I hate to say it, but it's his philosophy of not playing starters in the preseason. They clearly were not ready on offense to play the game. They weren't.
My Jags straight up upset Sunday of Kansas City. Remember where you heard it on Friday?
I was high on the Jags. As you recall, I picked them to win their division, but I just suddenly, I don't know what it is, but I've lost all interest in that team now.
See, you're not going to be there for me.
I told you. You made it clear. Football.
Don't want you there for me. That's right. I made it clear. I don't want you there for me.
You do not want me there. By the way, the Cubs and the Cardinals both big wins last night. Got to give the Cubs a little bit of credit.
Sure do.
They knew that the Cards already had a game in the win column yesterday.
And got behind and came back.
Hey, Schwarber liked it.
Plenty of baseball.
Oh yeah, plenty.
Get ready for picks next.
Of baseball. By the way, could be plenty of golf for you this weekend. Miramichi might be at the top of your list, and I think it should be. Miramichi in Woodstock. No, not Millington, Woodstock. It's halfway between Memphis and Millington, and it's gorgeous. And I'm telling you, it is in great condition right now. They've done all of the things that you would do to groom your fairways. They have the newest agronomy technology, which is basically taking all the compaction of the fairway out of it. It's now lush. They've been doing this every Monday for a few weeks. There's always some new wrinkle, whether it's knocking down 48 trees this year or getting brand new carts. Now there's this new agronomy technology. They're always striving to make it the best golf course they can, and it always pays off because every year they win #1 public golf course in the state of Tennessee. And then if you go and play, you're challenged. You can move up tee boxes if it's too hard. Here's a guarantee. It's gorgeous. The back nine is like a walk through the woods, natural streams and waterfalls. I'm telling you, you'll fall in love with the place. And it's not far. 27 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis and about 12 to 15 minutes from downtown. Please go check it out. You'll thank me later, Miramichi. We put ourselves on the line here in a minute. It's time for Friday Football Focus from First National Bank and Trust. We make our picks in a minute. These, by the way, are not intended for you to lock in and lose money on. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops this year with the new 2019 Fall Arrivals. Introducing the strikingly new T-Series irons from Titleist, featuring the T100 iron designed as a player's iron, the T200 iron, a player's distance iron, and the T300 iron, the complete game improvement iron. All pure Titleist. Let us help you find the right set and get custom fit today. Just a few of the new releases you'll find at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home with a 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. School's back in. Are the kids going to be running out of hot water every morning? Or worse, are you going to be out of hot water by the time they leave? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. At Conway Services, we're making now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling tanked water heater with a new tankless water heater with 24 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. These energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. See why I say now's the perfect time? Call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater, we'll come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Once upon a time, there was a sleepy bear in search of a place to nap. Like the inside of a car. A coupe? Too small. An SUV? Too big. A station wagon? Just right. But as his eyelids began to get heavy. Covered it. September 30th, 2013. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129.
Time for the Friday Football Forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, and recreational, contact them at fnbt.com. or 901-498-5763.
Friday Football Forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, they've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Nick Sutton, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763 or fnbtmemphis.com. That's fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I've had an account and been a friend my entire life.
And the first game we'll pick will be the Tigers laying the 37.5 points against Southern. You mentioned it, Dave. First time to play a team from the SWAC, the 1,000th game in Southern football history. I mentioned some of the alums from there across all sports. Avery Johnson also from basketball. It will be the Tigers' 10th opponent all time from the state of Louisiana, but they've never played LSU from the state of Louisiana. But 10th different opponent from the state of Louisiana. And the Tigers last week when they got that safety against Ole Miss, first safety for the Tigers since 2015. It was also the 50th home opening win for the Memphis Tigers. I think it's Tigers big, early, often, and easy. Tigers cover the 37.5. My Friday football forecast, Tigers win 41-0.
I think that Southern will score a touchdown on them. They put 52 on Georgia State a year ago. They're capable of putting up big
the Tigers
big
did.
numbers.
Okay.
The Tigers did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Southern will probably score a touchdown, but I think the 37.5 is very close. That's why it is what it is. But I'll give the Tigers the nod. I think they win. I think they cover.
Get there barely by 38 or so.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough. It looks like a line drive in the scorebook. Drew?
37.5. It's a lot of points. And just I know you're going from not really one extreme to the other, but you kind of are when you're going from the SEC to a SWAC school in Southern. And no disrespect to Southern, but I don't think their defense is going to be anywhere near as good as Ole Miss's, to where Memphis should be able to put the points up. So I'll take Memphis minus 37.5.
Wow.
Hopefully they get there.
All three of us, same mindset.
Group lock.
We all
Group
say
lock.
Memphis wins and covers.
And if we don't get this one right, we can still blame Dave, because as the broadcaster, he can affect the outcome.
He's
know
responsible. That's right. Yeah. 13 stories above the Liberty Bowl field, Dave. You can affect the outcome, can't you?
I'm just curious, when was the last time we had Drew tested?
Tested for what?
In a jar. Get my drift?
I don't know if we need to go with testing, do we?
Yeah.
All right, next game, Mississippi State and Southern Miss, 14-1 all time from 1981 to 1988. This rivalry was played in Jackson, Mississippi. State's win last week in the Superdome improved their all-time record to 11-8 in dome stadiums or retractable roof stadiums. How about this for State quarterback Tommy Stevens? It was his first start at any level of football since November 7th, 2014, when he started in high school. So he got in there and had to work off a lot of rust. Mississippi State, a 16.5-point favorite. I think State wins 38-17. That's more than 16.5, so give me the Bullies.
I hate to say it, but we're the same page here. I think Mississippi State will get into the 40s. Joe Moorhead's got his quarterback. I think they'll only get better. And even though Southern Miss used to be such a physical football team, I don't think they are the same sort of ball club that they used to be. So I think Mississippi State will cover.
I'm starting to get a little worried, because now this will be our third pick of the week, and we're going to have 3 group locks. I'm going to take State as well. I just think Mississippi State is too good of a team. Southern Miss pretty much doesn't have a prayer. I got State probably winning by 21 or 28.
And then the one that we all were flummoxed by last week, the whole country, the whole SEC, Tennessee losing outright to Georgia State and now favored over BYU. Favored 3.5 over BYU. First meeting ever between Tennessee and BYU. The game will be returned to Provo in 2023. Legendary Tennessee quarterback, the old swamp rat, Dewey Warren, was quarterback coach at BYU for LaVell Edwards in the early 70s. Dewey Warren with one of the more famous touchdown runs in Liberty Bowl Stadium history. The first year the stadium was open in the Tennessee-UCLA game. Jarrett Garantano, the current Tennessee quarterback, he did go over 300 yards last week, but that's not what anybody's going to remember from last week. To make last week a memory or start to make it in the past for Tennessee, they have to win, as must-win as they've ever been. 3.5, Tennessee by 4, 21-17. Vols make last week a little bit of a distant memory.
I think BYU is going to score more points than that. I vacillated on this. I have gone back. I said, you know what, Tennessee's really going to want this. They learned something. They got young guys. They know they got to have effort. I really think this will be a growing thing for them, and I was going to go with them. But the more I think about it, BYU played pretty well against Utah in their opening game. They're a much better team than Georgia State. They've had some rest. They've got something to prove. I don't think Tennessee is going to totally recover. I'm going to go back on my initial gut feeling, and I'm going to say it's going to get really dreary in Knoxville. I think BYU will win this game straight up, 24-21.
And let the chips fall where they may. Drew?
I'm with you, Dave. I think BYU wins straight up because if you looked at that game against Georgia State last week, Tennessee was out physicaled and outmanned against Georgia State, and nothing against Georgia State, but BYU is known to be physical and dirty, and if you're getting out physicaled by Georgia State, BYU is going to bring it at you. BYU probably wins 7 or 10 points, and Tennessee hangs their head, and they're just done.
Whoa, but they will be. It'll be 0-2 in the worst style you can be in. Next game, an American Athletic Conference game against the SEC. Auburn hosting Tulane, matchup of old SEC mates. Only the second time they will have played, though, since 1955. Tulane leads 17-14-6 all time. Who knew that? Did you know Tulane led that series all time?
Well, it goes back 12, a long way, and they haven't played of late. Way.
Auburn 12 out of 13 in home openers. The loss was to Clemson in 2016. Auburn kickers have converted 277 consecutive PATs back to the 2013 season. That's the longest streak in the FBS and an SEC record. Auburn barely gets over that big number. 18.5, I've got Auburn winning by 20. 34-14, Auburn wins on the Plains.
I've got Auburn winning by 10, 31-21. I think Tulane covers. I think Tulane will be representative. I think Tulane's defensive line is pretty good. I think they're going to give Auburn a tussle.
I would not be shocked at all by that. I love that coach. Drew, your pick?
I'm getting worried. I'm agreeing with Dave way too much here. I agree. I think Auburn wins, but only by about 14. Give me Tulane plus the points.
So y'all like mostly the points in Tulane to keep it nervously close late in the game for the Auburn Partisans. The game I'll be at tomorrow that you can hear all our pregame action starting at 4:30 tomorrow on 56, on 87.7, and on 96.1. Richard Cross and I from the Grove at 4:30. Kick at 6:30 between Ole Miss and Arkansas. The Hogs lead 16-11 since Arkansas joined the SEC. Mentioned that last 4 games, a margin of 158 to 156. Saw Tony Barnhart with that graphic on the SEC show this afternoon on TV. That's kind of making its rounds. Two 1-point games, 2 4-point games, and it's the first time it's been the SEC opener. 125 years of football. Ole Miss 835 winning percentage in home openers. Rakeem Boyd went for 109 yards last year in the first quarter and then got hurt in Little Rock, or that game would have been a different outcome last year. He was really rolling. So it's coming down to a last-second play. Can either of these teams generate a lot of offense? Ole Miss a 6.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Ole Miss to win the game by a half point. 17-10, Ole Miss wins the game, and that is a real low-scoring affair.
If Arkansas had trouble moving the ball on Portland State, wait till they see Benito Jones in that defensive front. I do think they'll score 17 points, but I think Ole Miss's offense will get going. I think they learned last week Scotty Phillips has to be their guy, and he should get a good 25 carries. They've got one guy that can catch the football, maybe 2. I think Corral will improve. I think the pass protection will improve. I think Ole Miss will win the game 28-17.
And get there easily by the point spread. Drew?
I think Ole Miss wins, but it's going to be close. Like you said when we started the show, Brett, that these last 4 matchups have all been very, very close with only, I think you said Arkansas scored 2 more points than Ole Miss in the last 4 matchups. I think Ole Miss wins 21-17, but Arkansas covers.
Arkansas gets the cover. Ole Miss gets the win. All right, Dave, you go first with your lock, and then we'll get Drew, and then we'll get mine. Your college football lock.
My lock is, and I'm pulling against these guys, but this week I think they're going to win. At home, Boise State has to give away 12 to Marshall. Marshall was really good on defense, but you know that defensive coordinator they had, Adam Fuller, is now here. Boise can score. We saw him come from behind against Florida State. I think it's Boise, my lock. They have to give away 12. They will win the game.
And
they will cover
to it. because we don't have any pushes, so you're laying 12.5. Drew?
Okay, 12.5.
Unlike what Dave said before we went to break, if I tell you to put the house on it, put the house on it. And I'm telling you to put the house on it. 10,000 stars. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors minus 6.5 at home against Oregon State, who one of their prime playmakers is a 5'5" wide receiver in Champ Flemings. So I think
what's wrong with 5.5 if they're strong and fast as the Dickens?
And you're going to make me stay up and watch all that game late.
You don't have to.
Saturday night.
No, I mean, if you want to stay up, kickoff is at 11. So you have plenty of time to get down to Tunica tomorrow after the Tiger game for everybody that wants to put the house on it.
If you want a new house.
If you want a new house, put it all on the Rainbow Warriors minus 6.5 over Oregon State.
All right, my lock is a little more traditional than that one. It's the primetime game, Herb Street and Fowler. The Eyes of Texas for sure on it. From Death Valley to DKR goes LSU. I'm going to lay the 5.5, and LSU wins that game about 28-13. LSU over Texas 28-13.
Wow, you think Texas can't move the ball? Losing all those running backs obviously has affected you. That's impressive and bold. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will finish our picks with our NFL locks and shocks and everything else that goes with that for Friday football focus. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Commissary. You're going to a football game tonight. We got so many good high school games, including MUS and Christian Brothers on the way. If you're coming from way out east, I got the new Germantown Commissary in Collierville, right at Poplar and Houston Levy Road, and they got a drive-through. How about tamales? How about ribs? How about pulled shoulders? They got party packs, really, really reasonably priced. Get a six-pack of the shoulder. You know how cheap that is, and you know how good it is. And what they did was they took the same recipes and everything they do at the Germantown Commissary, which is still going strong in that quaint little section of Germantown. They do it hickory smoked, slow-cooked, Memphis-style barbecue. Now they do it in Collierville. If you want to hang out and watch football, they got it on the big screens in all these rooms. They got a private party room and a cool deck. Oh, you got to go check out the Germantown Commissary. Back in a minute. We got crunch time and some more picks on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Welcome back to Sports Time. Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Hi, folks. Rob Walker, Infinity of Memphis, and we've got a new Infinity crossover vehicle that has raised the standard of comparison to a new level. Imagine having both sports car performance and eco-friendly efficiency on demand, working together to empower every driving experience. The result of 20 years of engineering, QX50's award-winning variable compression turbo engine is the world's only engine of its kind. Like two engines in one, it delivers a combination of power and efficiency that is truly in a category all its own, and only Infinity has it. You'll never sacrifice performance for the sake of efficiency again. And the new QX50 offers more horsepower than its Audi, Lexus, and Mercedes competitors. Add to that QX50's award-winning sumptuous interior, and you have the best combination of performance and comfort in the mid-size crossover segment.
Infinity of Memphis and online at infinityofmemphis.com.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Are you tired of all the clouds and bad weather? Rain brings pollutants that can wreak havoc on your car's finish, but there is someone who can help. Car Wash USA Express has introduced their most advanced car wash yet with the exclusive Polymer Pro Wash, creating a stronger, more consistent protective sealant for your car's finish. Polymer Pro can only be found at Car Wash USA Express, where attendants are always on duty to keep you and your vehicle safe. For more information and locations, visit carwashusaexpress.com. Car Wash USA Express, because a dirty car is a dirty shame.
The Memphis Tigers football team hosts Southern Saturday, September 7th at 11 a.m. This will be the annual Kroger game, where fans can purchase $10 game tickets at all area Kroger stores. A portion of the proceeds go to the Mid-South Food Bank in support of stamping out hunger in the region. Head coach Mike Norvell and the Memphis football team boast one of the nation's most explosive offenses, so you don't want to miss a single play. Memphis versus Southern, Saturday, September 7th at 11 a.m. Get your $10 tickets at area Kroger stores today. Stripe up.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. We'll finish our picks here very quickly, just so we know. When we last were talking, I had Boise over Marshall as my lock. You had LSU over Texas, and Drew, what is your lock?
Had Hawaii.
Hawaii over Oregon State.
In Hawaii. Okay, so it's
time for you, Dave.
For shock. I've got Fresno at home getting 3 against Minnesota from the Big Ten. Fresno looked, I think, okay against USC. At home against Minnesota, I like them. I'll take that shock.
Add the half, you get 3.5. I have A&M plus 17.5 over Clemson. Drew?
Give me South Florida plus 6.5 at Georgia Tech.
South FLA plus 6.5 at Georgia Tech. NFL, the Cowboys 7.5 over the Giants. Give me the Cowboys to win, but the Giants to cover.
I like the Cowboys to win the whole way and cover.
I'm with Dave. Give me Cowboys win and cover.
So, not a group lock, because I had the Giants. My underdog pick, my shock pick, Titans plus 5.5 over the Browns. Titans win the game. Titans win the game over the Browns.
I can't believe that. I've got that as my shock, too. I like Tennessee over Cleveland as well.
You got it, plus the 5.5. So we got to – you're not going to go all three of us on one game, are you, Drew?
No, I'm not. I've got my future Super Bowl match is the game I'm betting on this week. Give me Houston plus 7.5 at New Orleans.
Houston plus 7.5. My lock, the Lions, big over Arizona. 38-0 over Arizona.
My lock is Philly. I'm going to take them over Washington and give away 10.5.
Drew?
I got Rams minus 2.5 over Carolina. They destroy them.
Rams minus 2.5. That's our Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, and recreational, contact them at fnbt.com. That's fnbt.com or 901-498-5763.
This portion of the show also brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. They're always there to help you out, and they know it's never a good time to lose your air conditioning system. Maybe you're having a hard time. Maybe you want to get into 2019 technology, and right now John's come up with an option, $99 a month, and that's for a Carrier. That's right. Conway's got a new Carrier air conditioning system for as low as $99 a month. Everybody can do that. Plus, you'll get a 10-year parts warranty, part of the deal, free, and a free Nest thermostat. And, of course, the award-winning Conway service. Every time you do business with them, they take care of you. You just call 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. It's time now for Crunch Time.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is for all the big. It's Crunch Time.
You are looking live. It's Crunch Time. In your life have you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
In the crunch time, that's the frustrating part.
Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
Has it always been this way?
It's crunch time, so I got a different mind state.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
Oh!
He throw those ears forward. He was in stroke mode.
This is stupid.
It's obviously crunch time.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Learn today, Dave, and I think it's what we like about sport is a fair fight. We got a fair win in Oxford tomorrow, Ole Miss and Arkansas. I call it the 500-1 Bowl. The current Vegas odds for Arkansas or Ole Miss to win the SEC, 500-1. Ole Miss, it was a lot of the wounds were self-inflicted, the reason why they're in this position, but Arkansas was pure dereliction of Jeff Long and Brett Bielema to have them in this position. What'd you learn, Dave?
I learned a couple things. One, our friend Tom Bowen, former athletic director at the University of Memphis, is now a development director at Christian Brothers High School. And I think he's trying to raise funds for them to build their new basketball arena for Bubba Luckett. So congratulations to Tom Bowen. I learned that Yasiel Padron Artias was a 22nd round pick of the Boston Red Sox. He isn't even ranked anywhere on the Ball Club's top prospects list, but yesterday, the 21-year-old right-hander put together the type of performance that will certainly garner a whole bunch of attention. He came on in relief for the Class A Lowell Spinners. He struck out 14 batters, including 12 straight in 6 innings of a 2-1 win over Batavia. The 12 straight strikeouts is a new minor league record.
For the Lowell Spinners?
Yes. How about
that? I couldn't have done without that total Chicago Bear offensive performance last night. But was Anthony Miller even targeted? Mitch Trubisky was really bad. All those punts, the interception. The Bears cannot waste this defense with him going into next year. I know it's just one game this year. Here's a bunch of ifs. If. The rest of this year looks like that for Trubisky. And if Eli Manning has that good resurrection year, but the Giants aren't going to re-sign him.
Are you serious?
1-year deal, 2020 next year. Eli Manning in Chicago.
Are you dreaming? Are you
Why wouldn't you?
Crazy?
Why wouldn't you?
I could have done without that absolute implication right there.
You don't think he's better than Trubisky?
No, I don't.
Oh, Dave.
I think Mitch Trubisky is the victim, and this is what I could have done without.
The victim?
Teams not playing their starters in exhibition games. The Bears' starters weren't ready. That's why they played so poorly. This has been something that's been going on. They haven't won an opener in 6 years.
Did you hear the ifs?
Philosophy.
This is the kicker thing all over again.
Well, did you hear the ifs?
Yeah. The if Eli Manning has how many? What kind of year?
A good year.
Well, if he does that, why wouldn't he be re-signed for another year? 1-year deal by the Giants.
Because they had to pay him like $28 million.
So how much is the Bears supposed to pay him?
About $4. Come win us a Super Bowl.
I'm going with a guy that I gotta have for a bunch of years.
I'm keeping a close eye on.
I gotta definitely keep Trubisky going.
What is you could have done without?
I said teams not playing starters in exhibition games. I think it comes back to haunt them.
I'm keeping a close eye on to see if there's a backup quarterback that plays and plays well for the Tigers tomorrow. It'd be a good day for it. Brady White gets his snaps in a blowout, and then you go to a backup. Can UT snap back? It is as must-win as it'll ever be for Jeremy Pruitt. Ole Miss, Arkansas, a big game, a must-win for both of those. Army at the Big House, A&M at the other Death Valley, LSU at DKR, and baseball, Cardinals in Pittsburgh, Cubs and Brewers. Sunday of the NFL. Is this the beginning of the end for Eli Manning? Is this the start of the last year? And all that talk from the Browns, let's see what they can do. And what is Zeke Elliott's carries load on Sunday? How many times can he carry the ball? Keep an eye on all that. What are you watching?
I'm watching for Memphis. Who will get to play? Will Connor Adair come in, as you mentioned? Will we see – how many backs will we see? Would you even go as deep as Rodriguez Clark, who is a guy that I know you only want to play 4 games? How strategic will you be in using your red shirts in a game like this when you're supposed to blow out a team? I'm looking –
how many running backs?
You could see as many as 4. I would say 4, maybe 5. Remember, Patrick Taylor's not playing. I'm also looking forward to seeing if Ole Miss's line play, particularly pass protection, is better against this Arkansas team. And I want to know, will Tennessee actually come to play?
Compete.
To compete. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and the last thing, will Joe Burrow step up against what is a good Texas defense? The problem with Texas is no running backs, not defense. We'll see what Tom Herman does against Ed Orgeron and what Joe Burrow can do against the University of Texas.
You boys behave at the Liberty Bowl in the morning.
We will try, and we'll pass it on to you at Vaught Hemingway later.
Will I see you tomorrow night, Dave?
No, but
okay.
I'll see you. I'll be listening and watching on TV. Bruce Marshall, thank you. John David Bedour, Peter Edmiston, Glenn Rogers, Rick Horrow. Hopefully, our picks will have helped you out. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday at 5 right here on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Drew, who do we got in the studio with us this week?
This week on the show, we have Maurice Jones and Mario Pratcher in studio with John and I as we recap Southern University, get you ready for South Alabama, and of course, we'll have some surprise special guests.
Thanks, Drew. We'll be here Sunday on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. The Blue and Gray Show, where we talk Tigers with Tigers.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today. Shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at